Chapter 580. Xiao Chen came back to his senses and was stunned. He didn't expect that half of Song Huawu's ball was still outside. He quickly looked away and washed his hands and face while there was still some water left in the ball. Song Huawu could not help but feel disappointed when she saw that Xiao Chen had only glanced at her. She was also a little annoyed. "What are you trying to do, Song Huawu? Are you possessed by a demon? You really despise yourself. Huawu, let's go out and find a place to talk about the night attack at the research base," Xiao Chen said seriously. As the leader of Team C of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he could not sit back and do nothing. This matter also concerned Su Chuxia. Although Su Chuxia said that there would be someone else in charge, he still had to do something. It was for no other reason than to help Song Huawu vent her anger and let him know who did it. He would definitely not let him off easy. Playing with bombs? That was too shameless. Who wouldn't want to play with bombs? Okay. Song Huawu adjusted her emotions and once again turned into the capable girl from before. She walked out of the operating room with Xiao Chen. At the entrance of the operating room, Director Fu and the doctor on duty were stunned. What was going on? Song Huawu, who was supposed to have her leg amputated, could actually walk. If not for the fact that they did not see anyone else enter the operating room, they would have thought that she was Song Huawu's twin sister. It had to be said that this was a miracle in the history of medicine. Xiao Chen also saw the shock of the two, but this could not be replicated. He only said, "Luli, your divine water is really useful. It's a pity that there's only a little left. Once it's used up, it'll be gone." "Ah, that's right." Luli was also shocked. How the F***ck was this possible? Even if her leg was reattached, it would definitely be difficult for her to move in the future. Even if she did not use a wheelchair, she would still have to use crutches. But now, Song Huawu was walking very dexterously. There was no problem at all. He knew that this was definitely not the credit of the divine water. It was probably because of Granduncle Master. Marshal Granduncle is so awesome. However, he was also an astute person. After listening to Xiao Chen's words, he understood what was going on. Xiao Chen didn't want to expose himself. He quickly said, "Young Master Chang, you're right. This immortal water was left behind by Marshal Granduncle. There's only a little left. It'll be gone once it's used up. Sigh, what a pity. Well, no matter what, thank you very much." Nodding his head, Xiao Chen replied, "Xia Shibin, go and talk to President Fu first. Hua Wu will be discharged soon, and we'll wait for you back." "All right." Xia Shibin nodded. He stayed behind to deal with the aftermath. Dean Fu's previous decision was against the rules, so Xia Shibin had to complete some of the procedures afterwards. This would also prevent Dean Fu from getting into trouble. Xiao Chen, Song Huawu, and Daoist Luli left the hospital together and got into his Volkswagen Jetta. Luli stood at the side and didn't know if he should get into the car. However, Xiao Chen waved at him and said, "You can get in too, Luli. There are no outsiders in the car this time." Regarding his relationship with Song Huawu, Xiao Chen could only classify them as friends. Therefore, Xiao Chen didn't intend to hide some secrets from her. Hearing this, Luli quickly got into the car. Then, he glanced at Song Huawu and said, "Marshal Granduncle, this must be Marshal Grandaunt." "Pfft. Ahem, what did you say?" Song Huawu's eyes widened as she looked at Daoist Luli strangely. "Huawu, this Daoist Luli is now my grand disciple." Looking at the surprised Song Huawu, Xiao Chen explained, "So they withdrew from the operation against the Su family." "Ah. How is that possible?" Song Huawu was a little puzzled. Back then, this Daoist Luli was beaten up badly. Even if he didn't die and recovered, he couldn't just bear a grudge and become Xiao Chen's disciple, right? It's hard to explain. In short, I'm now Xiao Chang, and also his Marshal Granduncle, said Xiao Chen. It's really strange. Why are there so many strange things happening to you? Song Huawu didn't pursue the matter. She could probably tell that Xiao Chen and Lu Li still had a different relationship. There were some things that she couldn't tell him directly, so she didn't ask further. Yes, Martial Granduncle's ability is very powerful. That immortal water is just a support. Now, Martial Grandaunt can already move freely. It's really amazing. Daoist Lu Li exclaimed, by the way, Martial Granduncle, I still have internal injuries. I ran too fast just now and almost died. Can you help me recover? I'm not asking for that. I just feel that it's faster to run errands for you. Whoosh, whoosh. Oh, give me your hand. Xiao Chen didn't refuse. He took Daoist Lu Li's hand, checked his pulse, and checked his injuries. Sure enough, he hadn't fully recovered. Now that he had regained his physical strength and vitality, he began to circulate the mantra to heal Daoist Lu Li's injuries. Anyway, with Xiaoma here, Daoist Lu Li wouldn't be able to play any tricks. Ah. I'm done. Daoist Lu Li felt the meridians in his body gradually recover and immediately exclaimed, that's amazing. Martial Granduncle, our heavenly pure monastery must be amazing in the future. Keep a low profile. Xiao Chen frowned and warned, also, don't get involved in the matter with Kai Lehu and the others. By the way, let me ask you, the research base was attacked tonight. Do you know what happened? This. Just now, outside the operating room, Xia Shibin had already told Daoist Lu Li about the matter. Although he didn't know the relationship between Daoist Lu Li and Xiao Chen, it was obvious that Daoist Lu Li came to deliver medicine, so he was probably one of them. So Xia Shibin asked him about the situation tonight, but our heavenly pure monastery didn't participate in it. After you told me, Martial Granduncle, I told Kai Lehu that we quit. Could it be that they did it tonight? It's impossible. How can they have such great ability? If they did, they would have done it long ago. Why wait until now? That's what I'm wondering too. Xiao Chen furrowed his brows and muttered to himself. Tonight's incident was too sudden and too illogical. He found it hard to believe that Kai Lehu and Yorishima Kikuo were the culprits. However, if they were not the culprits, who else could it be? While thinking, Xiao Chen's phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was Xia Zhili calling. Xiao Chen quickly answered the phone. Jiannan, it's me. I heard that Hua Wu was seriously injured and needs to be amputated. I'm sorry for your loss. There are women everywhere. You don't have to hang on to one tree. When Xia Zhili heard the report previously, he knew that Xiao Chang went to the hospital to see Song Hua Wu. Thank you for your concern, Deputy Director Xia. Xiao Chen quickly said, however, Hua Wu is fine. Someone helped here, so Hua Wu was treated. Oh. She's fine. Xia Zhili couldn't help but be a little surprised. Xiao Chen nodded and said, it was the people from the Heavenly Pure Temple. They have some ancestral celestial water, which is very effective in healing wounds. However, there's only this much left. Unfortunately, there's no more. He was afraid that Xia Zhili would ask for it, so he simply said that there was no more, saving Xia Zhili the trouble of asking. Sure enough, Xia Zhili was a little regretful. There's no more. This is a good thing. However, isn't the Heavenly Pure Temple an enemy? How can they give you celestial water? Oh, I tried to reason with them and move them with their emotions. They had already withdrawn previously. As Taoists, they shouldn't participate in these worldly disputes. After I finished speaking, they deeply believed me and decided to turn over a new leaf. Xiao Chen said. I see. Then you're quite amazing. Xia Zhili nodded after listening and said, well, since Hua Wu is fine, that's great. I called you because I have something to tell you. The matter has been investigated. The Clariman family from Lego Town in Europe should be the ones who did it. They came here illegally, so there's no record of them entering or leaving the country. However, we can find this clue from the people who stayed at the scene. However, although we've investigated the people who did it, we're still a step too late in blocking the main road. They left via private helicopter. They're very familiar with the surrounding terrain of Lan City, so they specifically flew towards the mountainous area. There's no surveillance there, so we don't know where they went. However, one thing is for sure. The other party must have received them in Lan City. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to retreat so quickly. Oh. In other words, they ran away? Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Why did Xia Zhili's tone sound so indifferent, as if the matter had nothing to do with him? Yes. Xia Zhili said, however, Deputy Director Cha is in charge of the security of the research base. This old thing is going to suffer this time. He made such a big mistake. Let's see what he's going to do at the end of the year report. In the past, he always thought that he was more experienced than me, so he always asked to be ranked before me. This time, let's see if he has any face left. Ha 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 ha. Xiao Chen was really speechless, but he still said, then, congratulations, Deputy Director Xia. It's fine as long as we don't have to take responsibility. Well, of course not. You've done your best. You've persuaded Tianqing Monastery to surrender. That's also a great merit. Don't worry, I'll ask for credit for you during the report. Xia Zhili said. Thank you, Deputy Director Xia, Xiao Chen said quickly. There's one more thing. The research base's data has been stolen, so naturally, we have to recover it. Therefore, there's a mission now to go to the Klarman family in Lego Town in Europe and recover the research data. Even if we can't recover it, we have to find a way to destroy it. We can't let the data leak out. Xia Zhili said, this mission is very difficult. After all, it's someone else's territory. If our people go there, they might be killed before they can do anything. Therefore, I didn't agree to it. It's up to you. Jiannan, I think you're a capable person. What do you think? If you successfully complete this important mission, your status in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau will not be what it is now. Chapter 581. Oh. Xiao Chen was non-committal. If he completed this mission, he would indeed get the opportunity to be promoted, but the one who would benefit the most was Xia Zhili. He was one of his people. He was now desperately trying to improve his ranking in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and Xiao Chen's contribution was his capital. As for Xiao Chen himself, even if he was promoted, it would be Yang Tan who was promoted. It had nothing to do with him. His identity would eventually be exposed, and he would not be able to stay for long. Now, in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team B, there is still an empty position for the deputy team leader. Although the rank is the same as the team leader of Team C, everyone knows that whoever sits in this position actually goes there to take over. Xia Zhili said, the team leader of Team B was seriously injured a few years ago and is unable to recover. Currently, he is only in this position. If there is a suitable person to replace him, he will retire to recuperate. If it was the previous Yang Jiannan, he would definitely be tempted by this. Xiao Chen knew Yang Jiannan's character. This person was very keen on power, but Xiao Chen was not. However, if he acted indifferent at this time, he would be suspected, so Xiao Chen immediately said, is that so? That's good. Deputy Bureau Chief Xia, then I will do it. Help me take this mission. Okay, I knew you would definitely take it. I have already gotten the mission information. I am just waiting for you to nod, and I will send it to you. Xia Zhili said with a laugh. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Fortunately, he had agreed to it. If he had rejected, Xia Zhili would definitely suspect him. Xiao Chen continued to ask, then wouldn't the research materials be spread after he returns? Even if I go there, I won't be able to control it. One had to know that electronic information was very easy to copy. A simple copy could make many backups. That won't happen, because the information is encrypted. It is an encrypted chip. If it is not decrypted, no data can be read at all. Moreover, normal brute force cracking won't work. The chip has a self-destruction device. Brute force cracking will melt and destroy itself. Xia Zhili said, in the short term, there is no need to worry about the information being leaked. I see. Are you sure that the information is with the Clariman family? Xiao Chen nodded and asked. I'm not sure yet. If you want to accept this mission, you need to investigate in detail before you can act, Xia Zhili said. Alright, I got it. Xiao Chen nodded and said, I'll take this task. If there are any new developments, please let me know immediately. Thank you. Well said, well said. When Xia Zhili heard Xiao Chang agree so readily, he was very happy. This way, he would be even more qualified when he reported his work. After hanging up the phone, Song Huawu asked, How was it? Did you agree to some mission? Well, it's like this. Xiao Chen repeated Xia Zhili's words. On the other side, before Song Huawu could say anything, Taoist Luli slapped his thigh and shouted, Aya, damn, I know. This person from the Clariman family contacted us before and wanted to join us. At that time, we did not agree because the other party had not come yet. They only contacted us through special channels from overseas. I know. This time, they are led by a person named Vikings. It must be Kai Lehu and Vikings working together. I know that Midnight Island Kikuo has a map of the research base, and Kai Lehu has been operating in Lon City for many years. It would be easy to escape through them. With the few of them working together, there should be no suspense. Oh. Xiao Chen frowned. Sure enough, it was related to Kai Lehu and Midnight Island Kikuo. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen said, Luli, call Mount Tai. Do you dare to follow me to the Wave Club to destroy the place? Aya, what the F*** CK kill them. Just one word from Marshal Granduncle. Taoist Luli quickly said, I'll call Master now. As he spoke, Taoist Luli took out his mobile phone and sent a Weishin to Daoist Taishan. Xiao Chen said, Taoist Luli and Daoist Taishan are really advanced. They both know how to use Weishin. On Xiao Chen's side, he called Wang Fantian. There's a fight. Come to the entrance of the First People's Hospital. I'm coming. Wang Fantian quickly replied. The next morning, at dawn, Daoist Taishan and Wang Fantian arrived. Wang Fantian drove his sports car. The two cars, one in front and one behind, arrived at the entrance of the Wave Club under the command of Taoist Luli. The construction of this club is quite luxurious. Xiao Chen glanced at the club and curled his lips. TSK, especially this door. The decorations at the door, the bonsai, the stone carvings, the antique style. Smash it for me. Puff. Taoist Luli was about to come over and flatter them, saying that it was beautiful. However, when he heard Xiao Chen's last sentence, he almost spat it out. Fantian is here. Wang Fantian loved this kind of work the most. He picked up a big tortoise stone carving at the door. This stone carving was at least a few £1,000, but Wang Fantian picked it up as if he was picking up a ball of cotton. Whoosh, he smashed it at the antique vermilion door. Bang! The door didn't break open, but it directly smashed a hole. It was even more miserable. The door was directly destroyed. The loud noise awakened the martial artists in the Wave Club. In an instant, the inside was brightly lit. Then, many martial arts instructors and disciples in training clothes rushed out. Who dares to smash the place here? The person who took the lead was the chief instructor of the Wave Club, whose strength was second only to Kai Lehu. He had the strength of a half-step martial master. Usually, he was an arrogant existence, but today, when he saw the big stone tortoise on the ground, his eyes twitched. This big tortoise weighed thousands of pounds. Even a martial master would find it hard to lift it, let alone a martial artist. But now, it was smashed on the door. Not only was the door broken, but the big tortoise was also broken. What a huge force. Where are Kai Lehu and Kai Wujin? Let the two of them come out. Daoist Luli had become a lackey at this time. He stepped forward and ordered arrogantly. Taoist Luli. The chief instructor was stunned. When he saw that the person who came out was Taoist Luli, he was immediately stunned. Although he was powerful and was an expert martial artist at the peak of the 10th level of internal strength, he was not an opponent of Taoist Luli, who was a martial master. He subconsciously took 2 steps back. Taoist Luli, what do you mean by this? Did our Spur Club offend your Tianqing Taoist temple? You didn't offend us, but I'm here to help today. Taoist Luli said, we are just supporting characters today. Hurry up and let Kai Lehu and Kai Wujin come out to die. Help? Taoist Luli, we have never had any grudges. How can you help others? That's not right, right? The chief instructor said with some confusion. Aya, damn it, why do you have so much to say? I asked you to look for Kai Lehu and Kai Wujin. I'm not going to talk to you. You are too lowly. Taoist Luli said angrily. You. The chief instructor was furious, but he was no match for Taoist Luli. He did not dare to make a move and could only pant. At this time, an angry voice sounded. It was Kai Lehu's voice. Taoist Luli, aren't you going too far? I didn't provoke you, but you came to find trouble with us? Even if we don't cooperate now, we were on the same side before, right? You actually helped Xiao Cheng to find trouble with me? Xiao Cheng, you won the martial arts challenge last time. We also kept our promise and didn't find trouble with the Su family. However, do you really think that the Kai family is a pushover? Do you still care about the rules of the martial arts world? Kai Wujin said angrily. However, although he said that, he really didn't dare to do anything to Xiao Chen. He, Taoist Luli, and Yakashima Kikuo were no match for Xiao Cheng. Although there was a sneak attack, Taoist Luli and Taoist Tai Shan were on Xiao Cheng's side. There was also Wang Fangtian, who was a fool. The father and son were no match for Xiao Cheng at all. Don't say useless things. You are really a pushover. Xiao Chen smiled coldly and waved his hand. Then, he said, you didn't touch the Su family? Why did you join forces with the Clariman family to attack the research base? You even seriously injured Song Huawu? Do you dare to say that you did not participate? This. Kai Lehu hesitated. Of course not. What does this have to do with us? That was done by the Clariman family. Did you find the wrong person? Kai Wujin had made up his mind. He couldn't admit to this matter. There were still people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau present. However, he was also puzzled. Wasn't Song Huawu crippled by the explosion? Why is she still standing here, perfectly fine? Could it be that Vikings was bragging to me? That guy is a liar. If that's the case, it would be unwise to let him take the encrypted chip away. I didn't find the wrong person. Wang Fangtian, you go and beat him until he admits it. Xiao Chen ordered Wang Fangtian. You are making a confession under torture. Is this how the Supernatural Investigation Bureau handles cases? Kai Lehu was shocked. This Xiao Cheng is going to be unreasonable. Huh? Xiao Chen was a little amused. Who told you that I am from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Have you forgotten that I am Tian Sour's boyfriend? Oh, I know. You were beaten silly by Wang Fangtian last time. You. Kai Lehu was stunned. After thinking about it, it seemed that Xiao Cheng really wasn't from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Luli, Tai Shan, the two of you go and help too. The two of you, one on the left and one on the right, hold Kai Wujin and beat him to death. Anyway, you don't have to be responsible if you kill him, Xiao Chen said. Hee, okay. Tai Shan and Luli responded and were about to hold Kai Wujin. Kai Lehu was shocked and wanted to stop them. You are not following the rules. Don't move. Xiao Chen roared and pointed at Kai Lehu. Why don't you try moving again? Do you believe that I will kill you first? Chapter 582. G.A. Only then did Kai Lehu realize that Xiao Chen was still glaring at him. he quickly stopped in his tracks. On the other side, Tai Shan and Lu Li had already blocked Kai Wujin from the left and right. Wang Fantian had already been injured. With each step, Kai Wujin was beaten until he vomited blood. However, it was 3 against 1. No matter how strong Kai Wujin was, he was no match for them. He could only take the beating. Hey! Can you guys stop fighting? If you continue, someone will die. Kai Lehu was fuming with anger, but there was nothing he could do. Don't talk about those useless things. Where are the people from the Clariman family? Xiao Chen asked. How would the Kai family know? You should be from the Clariman family. Kai Lehu said with a bitter face. Oh, if you don't know, then beat him to death. If you know, consider it a meritorious service, and I won't beat you to death. Xiao Chen said indifferently, now I'm looking for you to fight. If you win, you can avoid death. If you don't win, then just wait to be beaten to death. Kai Lehu was a little dumbfounded. Isn't this 2F** king unreasonable? There is such a person? Really? He looked at Kai Wujin, who was about to be beaten to death, and his face turned green. Wang Fantian continued to beat Kai Wujin to death, and Kai Wujin's internal organs were about to spit out. He was about to die, and his eyes were already rolling back. Kai Lehu gritted his teeth and could only say, okay, stop, I'll talk. Oh, don't stop first. Continue beating him. I want to see if what he said is useful. If not, continue beating him to death. Xiao Chen said. Hee. Wang Fantian continued to beat him to death. I've already said it. Hurry up and stop. Let me tell you, Wu Jin is an inner disciple of the martial arts world. If he is beaten to death, you will not be able to get away with it. Kai Lehu threatened. Okay, hurry up and say it. If you don't, he might die. Xiao Chen waved his hand impatiently. If he dies, it will be because of you. It has nothing to do with anyone else. I'll talk. Kai Lehu said with a sad face, I'll talk, okay? Yes, it was our Kai family who helped them leave, but they also took away the encrypted chip. They should be out at sea now, heading back to Lego Town in Europe. Oh, that's enough. Stop fighting. Xiao Chen waved his hand, indicating that Wang Fantian could stop. Actually, don't be fooled by Wang Fangtian's severe beating. This kid had a sense of propriety. He wouldn't kill them, but he would scare them a little. Oh. Before Wang Fangtian stopped, he kicked Kai Wujin's crotch, causing him to cry out in pain. You. Kai Lehu was furious. We're just accomplices. Now that we've said it, we haven't gotten any benefits, so please let us go. What about Yorishima Kikuo? Xiao Chen asked, is he the same? You got nothing? Yes, they're only responsible for the map. There's an insider in the research base. The specific execution is done by Vikings from the Clariman family. Kai Lehu said truthfully. Okay, then let's talk about something else, said Xiao Chen. Ugh. What else is there? I've said everything that needs to be said. Kai Lehu asked nervously. The compensation for the defeat, Tianqing Monastery has already given me 1 million. Now it's your turn, said Xiao Chen. This isn't very good, right? Kai Lehu said, we're very poor. Yeah? Xiao Chen stared. What about the money you gave to Taoist Luli before? He has already given me 1 million. It's your turn. I'll discuss it with you now. If you don't have it, I'll let someone go in and move the things. Take whatever is valuable. Let's talk about it after we've collected 1 million. Ugh, 1 million, I don't have it. Kai Lehu said quickly, I thought you wanted a lot. I'll give it to you now. As Kai Lehu spoke, he got someone to take out a check, write a 1 million check, and give it to Xiao Chen. At least you're sensible, but it's not empty, right? If you can't exchange it, your house will catch fire tomorrow. Xiao Chen took the check and glanced at it. No. I really can't. Kai Lehu said quickly, frightened. Oh, if that's the case, let's go. Xiao Chen nodded and left with his people. Kai Lehu quickly picked up Kai Wujin and asked, Wujin, how are you? Are you alright? These people are too overbearing and vicious. However, he had never thought that all of this was because they provoked Xiao Chen first. If they hadn't wanted to harm the Su family, how could these things have happened? Dad, I'm fine. Kai Wujin shook his head and said weakly, I know. This Wang Fantian just wanted to scare and torture me, but he didn't want my life. Although I seem to be seriously injured, I won't die. That's good. Kai Lehu breathed a sigh of relief. Kai Wujin was the hope and pillar of the Kai family. If anything happened to him, it would be too late for regrets. I won't let it go just like that. Once I hear about it, I will find a chance to report it to the sect and let them stand up for me. Kai Wujin said with hatred, I have never suffered such a big loss before. And, if you have the chance, you will naturally take revenge. Kai Lehu nodded. But for now, don't provoke him. I understand. I'm not an impulsive person. Kai Wujin said. Xiao Chen took Song Huawu, Taoist Lu Li, Taoist Tai Shan, and Wang Fantian to discuss the next plan with Song Huawu. Xiao Chen, are you really going to clear him in town? Song Huawu said, that's their territory. You really shouldn't have accepted this mission. It's not that I didn't want to accept it, but I couldn't refuse it. You saw the situation at the time. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. But this matter, the sooner the better. Are you going with me? Of course I'm going with you. Song Huawu nodded. It's just that my strength may be lower. That's fine. You're more familiar with firearms than me. This time, we don't necessarily have to fight head-on. Since the other party used those firearms, don't you plan to return them? Xiao Chen said with a smile. When the time comes, we'll blow them up. Using firearms on a large scale isn't very good, right? Song Huawu was a little hesitant. It's their territory anyway. Who cares? Xiao Chen didn't care. He was never a person who was afraid of trouble. Since he was going to do it, he would do it in a big way. At most, he would just leave. Yang Tan would be the scapegoat for him. Song Huawu nodded. Then I'll go back and prepare. Okay, I need to prepare too. Xiao Chen looked at the time. It was almost time to go to school. He prepared to go to school and bid farewell to Su Chuxia and Tian Souring. The mission ended here. He believed that Su Chuxia should know what happened. Xiao Chen parked the car downstairs. After waiting for a while, Su Chuxia and Tian Souring arrived. Both of them had a strange expression on their faces. For the first time, Tian Souring didn't nag when he got into the car. Su Chuxia quietly opened the car door and got in. Morning. Xiao Chen started the car. Su Chuxia nodded. Last night, you should know about the research base. I have to go. Xiao Chen tried his best to maintain a smile, but for some reason, he still felt a little melancholic. He didn't spend much time with Su Chuxia and Tian Souring, but everyone got along well, especially Tian Souring. Xiao Chen even pretended to be her boyfriend for a few days. Why are you leaving? You haven't caught up with Sister Souring yet, right? You haven't confessed yet. Tian Souring pouted and was a little unhappy. Souring, Xiao Chong has a mission. He can't play with us. Don't delay it, Su Chuxia said to her. Although she was comforting her, Su Chuxia herself was a little melancholic. The research base's data has been stolen. I have no choice. I have to go to Europe's Klarman town and retrieve the data. Xiao Chen said, this is my new mission. The mission to protect you here will end at the same time, oh. Su Chuxia nodded. Thank you for all this time. I've troubled you. Thank you very much, it's okay. This is also my duty. Xiao Chen smiled and said, souring, don't worry. Before I leave, I will confess to you. But you have to let me prepare. Ah, that's more like it. Tian souring was happy again. Then, after you return from the Klarman family, will you still come to Lon City's New Moon College to study? It shouldn't be possible. Xiao Chen shook his head. I don't even know what my next mission is. Okay. Sister Souring is so disappointed. Someone just confessed, and your boyfriend is going to disappear. Tian Souring said. Didn't you say it was fake? Su Chuxia said, Souring, why did you make it real? Ah, that's not it. Tian Souring quickly shook her head. The car went all the way to school. Xiao Chen arrived at his class. He could have stopped going to school today. The reason he came was to say goodbye to his deskmate, Ling Qinxue. Although Xiao Chen suspected that Ling Qinxue was Ling Qinxue's tone did not seem to be fake. Xiao Chen wondered if he had made a mistake. Was this just a coincidence? If not for Ling Qinxue was still a good girl. The two of them got along quite well, so Xiao Chen planned to say goodbye to her. However, Ling Qinxue had not arrived yet. Xiao Chen sat alone in his seat. He took out his mobile phone and used Weixin to create a group of followers. He added Taoist Lu Li, Taoist Tai Shan, Xia Shibin, and Wang Fantian. He sent a message to these followers. I want to confess to a girl today. Can any of you help me plan it more romantic? Boss, you will definitely be a hero if you jump from a building. Awesome. Wang Fantian was the first to reply. Chapter 583. Boss, give her a bottle of beautifying and nourishing celestial water. It will definitely be effective. Daoist Tai Shan said. Aya, F***ck, boss, just send her to a hotel, and then, Aya, F***ck, you know, Daoist Lu Li said. F***ck off. Xiao Chen replied. Boss, I'm good at this. Xia Shibin came. Girls like romance. Don't worry, I'll prepare a candle array, a sea of flowers, and a hot air balloon for you. I guarantee it will be super romantic and successful. Xia Shibin's idea is not bad. Xiao Chen thought, this guy used to hang out with Yang Tan, it seems like he did this kind of thing a lot. Is that so? Then, boss, I'll go prepare. Xia Shibin said quickly when he heard it. Go. I'll confess to Tian Sour. Xiao Chen said, oh right, can it be done at noon? No problem. Xia Shibin said. However, after Xiao Chen arranged everything, Ling Qinxue still didn't come to school when it was almost time for class. This made Xiao Chen a little surprised. The homeroom teacher, Teacher Chen, walked into the classroom and said to everyone, let me tell you a piece of news. Ling Qinxue has left New Moon Academy because of the change of her parents' jobs. She has transferred schools today. Ah. Everyone was a little disappointed and surprised after hearing this, especially the boys. Ling Qinxue was very cute. She was the goddess after Su Chuxia and Tian Sour. Some boys had already secretly fallen in love with her, but they didn't expect Ling Qinxue to transfer schools again in just a few days. This is a letter that Ling Qinxue asked me to give to her deskmate, Xiao Chang. Because she was in a hurry, she couldn't personally thank Xiao Chang for taking care of her these days, so she wrote a letter to express her gratitude. Teacher Chen said, Xiao Chang, come and get the letter. Okay. Xiao Chen was a little surprised. He didn't expect Ling Qinxue to transfer schools. Could it be, she is Ling Qinxue? Because Night Island's mission is over, there's no need for her to stay here anymore? Xiao Chen took the letter. The letter was sealed. Obviously, Teacher Chen didn't peek at it. It could be seen that she was a very open-minded teacher. She wouldn't peek at a student's letter. Xiao Chen returned to his seat. Professor Chen also began to teach, while Xiao Chen opened Ling Qinxue's letter. Although the letter was very long, it was basically to thank Xiao Chang for taking care of her during this period of time, as well as some of the things that had happened in the past few days. After Xiao Chen finished reading the letter, he was even more suspicious. Was this Ling Qinxue really Ling Qinxue? It couldn't be, right? Otherwise, that Ling Qinxue from before had always wanted to kill him, and this Ling Qinxue even said goodbye to him. With Ling Qinshue's personality, she shouldn't have done this. As he flipped through the letter in his hand, Xiao Chen suddenly froze. Because, at the beginning of the letter, there was actually a sentence that was hidden in the letter. Xiao Changjuan, someone wants to kill you, leave this place quickly. Xiao Chen was stunned. He didn't think that this was a coincidence, because this was too much of a coincidence. He looked at it carefully, and it was definitely done by Ling Qinxue on purpose. Because the number of words in each paragraph of the letter was not very neat, it should be to deliberately put together this hidden sentence, so there was no way to maintain the neat format. However, after seeing this sentence, Xiao Chen felt even more that this Ling Qinxue was not Ling Qinxue. That Ling Qinxue wanted to kill him, and with someone helping her, she would probably be even more happy. Why would she remind him to let him leave? It was simply impossible. It seemed that he was thinking too much. There were probably many people with the same name in Japan, and their surnames were all different, so he didn't try to link them together. He just sighed, and he had to leave. Ling Qinxue would probably become a passerby in his life. Perhaps after some time, when he thought about it, he would have a special memory. After putting away the letter, Xiao Chen laid on the table to rest. After tossing and turning last night, he still had to have a good rest. As for Ling Qinxue asking him to leave, Xiao Chen didn't care. There were many people who wanted to kill him, so there was no need for him to hide. In the blink of an eye, it was noon break. However, some students who had finished classes early left the school building, and there were waves of cheers and exclamations coming from below. Su Chuxia and Tian Saoring planned to go to the cafeteria to eat as usual, but when they walked out of the school building, they saw a large group of people surrounding the field in front of the school building. They walked over curiously, but when the surrounding people saw Su Chuxia and Tian Saoring, they all consciously made way for them. This made the two of them very curious. Why did they make way for them? However, when they walked in front of them, they were stunned. This was because this was a flower candles array. In the middle of the flower candles array, there was a hot air balloon with a banner on it that said, "Saoring, I love you." Holy sh*T, it can't be. Is this for real? A nouveau riche proposed to Sister Saoring. Tian Saoring looked at everything in front of him in surprise. Xiao Chang, right? Su Chuxia said. Aya, can't you break Sister Saoring's beautiful dream? Sister Saoring still doesn't know it's Xiao Chang. Tian Saoring's eyes were full of little stars. But Xiao Chang is still fake. Aya, you're satisfied that he's fake? Su Chuxia curled her lips. She felt that Tian Saoring was not satisfied. It was already very good that Xiao Chang was like this because of her, a fake girlfriend. At the end of the day, Xiao Chang was just a special agent who protected her. He even cooperated with Saoring's nonsense. What was there for Saoring to be dissatisfied with? Saoring, be my girlfriend. Xiao Chen carried a bouquet of flowers and walked in front of Tian Saoring. He handed it to her. Ah. Tian Saoring rubbed her eyes. Is it true? You actually like Sister Saoring so much. Sister Saoring is so touched. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Didn't she ask him to do all this? However, at this time, in order not to spoil the atmosphere, Xiao Chen still said, yes, can you promise me? Tian Saoring didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked very reserved. Promise him. Promise him. Promise him. Promise him. The students who were watching from the side all spontaneously shouted at this time. N. Tian Saoring took the flowers and lowered her head shyly. She humphed lightly. Hug. 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 The students who were watching from the side continued to shout. Come on. Xiao Chen opened his arms. Tian Souring handed the flowers in her hands to Su Chuxia. Then, she lowered her head and didn't dare to look at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen hugged Tian Souring. Tian Souring's body trembled slightly, but she didn't struggle. Instead, she buried her head in Xiao Chen's arms and hugged Xiao Chen's waist. Kiss. 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 The students who were watching from the side wanted to see the world in chaos. Tian Souring's body trembled slightly in Xiao Chen's arms. There's no need for that. It's quite sour and shy. Xiao Chen smiled as he helped her out of the predicament. However, what Xiao Chen didn't expect was that Tian Souring suddenly raised her head. Her lips gently pecked Xiao Chen's lips before moving away. Then, she broke free from Xiao Chen's embrace and quickly left. Su Chuxia glanced at Xiao Chen and went to chase after Tian Souring. Xiao Chen didn't chase after her. Instead, he sighed slightly. He didn't know if Tian Souring was playing around or what, but he also had to leave. He quickly walked out of the crowd. Everyone thought that he also went to chase after Tian Souring. In fact, Xiao Chen went to the parking lot. Xia Shibin would help him settle the procedures to leave the school. He had to prepare to go to the Claryman family in Lego Town. Souring, why did you take the initiative to kiss him just now? Have you really fallen for Xiao Chang? Su Chuxia's expression was very serious. She caught up with Tian Souring and asked her. Of course not. Do you think Sister Souring will fall so easily? Tian Souring said. However, the happiness on her face made Su Chuxia feel that Tian Souring was lying. Then why did you take the initiative to kiss Xiao Chang? Su Chuxia asked. Isn't that the situation back then? Everyone was shouting that I couldn't kiss him. Tian Souring scratched her head and said awkwardly, then, Sister Souring got excited and couldn't help it. I think you're just in love, right? Su Chuxia carefully observed Tian Souring's expression. She felt that there must be something wrong with Tian Souring. How could that be? Tian Souring quickly said. Souring, let me tell you, Xiao Chang is only here to carry out a mission and will leave very soon. There's no result even if you like him. Don't fall for it yourself. Su Chuxia reminded her. Although Xiao Chang was a good person, Su Chuxia had to admit that Xiao Chang and Tian Souring weren't suitable. They could be friends, but as a boyfriend, I know. Also, isn't Souring going to be taken back by the family? Tian Souring said with a smile, Chuxia, don't worry. Sister Souring knows the severity of the situation. Okay. Su Chuxia nodded. Control your emotions. Okay. I'm hungry. Let's eat. Tian Souring said. Why do you only know how to date other than eating? This school is for you. Su Chuxia was really speechless. Hey, what date? That's fake. Tian Souring quickly explained. I don't care. Su Chuxia shook her head. However, what Su Chuxia and Tian Souring didn't expect was that Xiao Chen actually didn't appear again in the afternoon. Teacher Chen, the homeroom teacher, announced an explosive news. Student Xiao Chang also transferred schools due to some reasons. I really didn't expect that within a day, 2 students in our class would transfer schools. Teacher Chen said with a sigh. Xiao Chang was a good student. Originally, she wanted to use Xiao Chang to increase her teaching reputation, but she didn't expect Xiao Chang to transfer schools at this time. Chapter 584. Could it be that Xiao Chang and Ling Qinxue had arranged to transfer schools together? Teacher Chen shook his head when he thought of this. If that was the case, Ling Qinxue wouldn't have asked him to bring her a letter. It was obviously not arranged. It was just a coincidence. At this moment, many of the students who had experienced the confession at noon understood that Xiao Chang might have already known that he was going to transfer schools. Therefore, before he left, he confessed to his beloved goddess, Tian Souring. Seeing Tian Souring's dazed expression, the student sighed. Sister Souring had fallen for him. Souring, what's wrong? Su Chuxia also felt that something was wrong with Tian Souring's mood. Nothing. Tian Souring didn't know why, but she suddenly felt like crying. She leaned on the table and said weakly, Chuxia, I'm a little tired. I'm going to rest for a while. You don't want Xiao Chang to leave? Su Chuxia also noticed something. Chuxia, do you want to? Tian Souring asked in return. I don't want to either. Su Chuxia was stunned. She realized that during this period of time, Xiao Chang's days were quite good. They were happy every day, and he often cooked and sent them to and from school. Sigh, life is full of parting. Tian Souring sighed with vicissitudes. Sister Souring's relationship ended before it even started. You really took it seriously? Su Chuxia asked suspiciously. Then shouldn't I invest a little more? Tian Souring said. Forget it, I'll just treat it as a breakup. Long live the breakup. On the other side, Xiaochen had already gone to the airport with Song Huawu. To the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, it was very easy to add 2 extra plane tickets at the last minute. The 2 of them used aliases this time. Xiao Chen's name was Yang Tan, and Song Huawu's name was Hua Xiaowu. The 2 of them were a couple from Xia Kingdom. They were going to Lego Town for a vacation and needed to transfer a few planes to get to Lego Town. Both of them were expert cultivators. Therefore, even though it was a long journey, they didn't seem very tired. After transferring several planes, and finally taking a train, the 2 of them arrived near Lego Town. However, it wasn't Lego Town yet. Because Lego Town was located on an island, if the 2 of them wanted to go there, they had to take a boat. As for the boats, there was only one trip every morning. They would leave early in the morning and return late at night. At this time, there were no more boats. Thus, the 2 of them booked a room at a place called Masri Restaurant, on the opposite shore to rest. It was not unusual for the 2 of them to share a room. In order to prevent their identities from being exposed during a mission, they had to endure it no matter what. Moreover, with the relationship between Xiao Chen and Song Huawu, there was no need to hide it at all. They had seen what they should see, and they had seen what they should not see. Xiao Chen, I want to take a shower. Do you want to go first or should I? Song Huawu came to the room and lay down on the bed lazily. Her physical strength was not as good as Xiao Chen's, so she was still a little tired. Do you want to join us? Xiao Chen teased. Sure. Song Huawu smiled and said, Do you dare? I don't dare. Forget it. Xiao Chen shook his head. I knew it. Song Huawu stood up and walked to the bathroom. In the end, she even said, Coward. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Song Huawu had been teasing him along the way. Did she think that she was not afraid of anything after being seen by him? Actually, Song Huawu was not joking. She really hoped that Xiao Chen would come and peek. She did not know if there was something wrong with her. She only knew that in the past, Yang Jiannan always wanted to peek at her, but she was always on guard. But now, she wanted to peek at Xiao Chen. Was it because Yang Jiannan had messed with her that she was mentally abnormal? After taking a shower, Song Huawu came out in a bathrobe. She did not wear anything inside. She went to bed. Xiao Chen glanced at her and said, Huawu, do you really think that I don't dare to push you? Oh. Song Huawu responded and looked at the magazine on the bedside. She was proficient in many languages, so she had no difficulty reading. This made Xiao Chen very helpless. He could only go and take a shower. After Xiao Chen took a shower, Song Huawu was still on the bed. He did not know what she was doing. She did not watch TV properly. She took the remote control and changed the channel. What are you doing? Asked Xiao Chen. I heard that foreign hotels have erotic channels. I'm looking for one, said Song Huawu. Why are you looking for that? Xiao Chen was stunned. He thought to himself, I didn't see it. After interacting with her for a while, I realized that Song Hwawu was a sultry type. To watch it with you. Song Hwawu said matter-of-factly. Alright, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat. Are you coming? Asked Xiao Chen. I've been hungry for a long time. Song Hwawu jumped out of bed and put on her clothes. She took off her pajamas and wore nothing underneath. She did not care that Xiao Chen was beside her. Xiao Chen was stunned. He turned around and said, Hwawu, can't you avoid it? Aren't we a couple? Song Hwawu asked. But, isn't that a disguise in front of outsiders? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. The details determine success or failure. If you are usually secretive, you might make a mistake at a critical moment. Song Hwawu said, as an excellent agent, you can't have complicated thoughts. We do all this for the mission. Alright, then did you and Yang Jiannan carry out missions like this in the past? Asked Xiao Chen. In his dreams, said Song Hwawu. Xiao Chen didn't understand Song Hwawu's logic. After putting on their clothes, the two of them went downstairs side by side. There was a restaurant downstairs. Xiao Chen and Song Hwawu walked in. Xiao Chen didn't know the language here. At this moment, there were many people in the restaurant. Xiao Chen looked around and found an empty seat to sit down. However, a waiter came over and said something to him. He didn't understand, so he turned to look at Song Hwawu. Song Hwawu began to communicate with the waiter on the side. After a while, the waiter nodded and took out the menu. What does he want to do? Asked Xiao Chen. Nothing. He said that this table has been reserved, but half an hour has passed since the reservation, so he let us use it first, said Song Hwawu. Oh. Xiao Chen didn't mind. Instead, he looked at the pictures on the menu and casually ordered a few things. Song Hwawu added a few more, and the waiter went to work. The efficiency of serving the dishes was very fast. Not long after, the dishes were served. Just as Xiao Chen and Song Hwawu were about to enjoy them, a loud noise came from not far away. Xiao Chen frowned. He thought that someone was drinking and causing trouble, but he didn't expect that the noisy person would walk straight towards Xiao Chen's table. The leader was a young man. Behind him were 3 young men and 2 female companions. They came over and shouted in the local language, "Who has taken my place? You're quite bold. Hurry up and get them to give it up. Otherwise, you know the consequences." What did they say? Xiao Chen asked Song Hwawu. It seems to be the person who made the reservation. Let the waiter settle it. It has nothing to do with us. Song Hwawu shook her head. She didn't want to cause trouble. Xiao Chen nodded and glanced at the leading man. This man had fair skin and was well dressed. He should be a rich man, but this had nothing to do with Xiao Chen. After looking at him, Xiao Chen continued eating. However, he hated this person a little. He didn't come at the time he made the reservation. Why was there so much trouble when he was late? However, there was no need for him to confront him directly. The restaurant would deal with this matter. Sure enough, the waiter kept talking to the young man. However, when the young man saw that Xiao Chen didn't get up to give up his seat and even pretended not to hear and continued eating, he immediately flew into a rage. He, Ramit, was the young master of the Claryman family, the largest family in the vicinity. He was a domineering existence in the vicinity of Lego Town. Didn't people quickly scram when they saw him? At this moment, this person pretended not to see him and completely ignored him. How could he tolerate it? Ramit was furious. Wasn't this person obviously looking down on him? He didn't care about the waiter's words anymore. He walked over and lifted Xiao Chen's tablecloth. All the food on it fell to the ground. There was a series of crackling sounds. However, Xiao Chen and Song Hwawu were both warriors and cultivators. They weren't affected at all. Not even a drop of vegetable soup splashed on them. I'm sorry. The waiter scowled miserably and hurried over to apologize to Xiao Chen and Song Hwawu. However, he spoke in English this time, as if he knew Xiao Chen didn't understand his language. Can I arrange another seat for you two right away? This seat was reserved by young Master Ramit. You see. What's this person's job? Xiao Chen pointed at Ramit and asked in English. If it weren't for the fact that he was on a mission, he would have sent this person flying with a slap. This. Just as the waiter was about to explain, one of Ramit's companions stepped forward. Kid, you're new here, right? Don't you know who has the final say in this sea? This is Ramit, the eldest young master of the Claryman family, the biggest gang here. If you know what's good for you, get lost. Otherwise, I guarantee that you won't be able to leave this sea. The man pointed at Xiao Chen and shouted arrogantly. Claryman family? You're from the Claryman family? Xiao Chen was shocked. He didn't expect to meet the person he was looking for here. He immediately calculated in his heart. If he could capture this person, he could get a lot of valuable information from him. Otherwise, he would be in the dark about the Claryman family. Thinking of this, a smile flashed across the corner of his mouth. Kid, do you want to die? How dare you smile? Do you want to die? When the man saw that Xiao Chen was actually smiling, he was extremely angry. Did this person really not know how terrifying the Claryman family was? Oh, sorry. We'll leave now. Sorry. Since Xiao Chen had made up his mind, he naturally had to show weakness first. Chapter 585. If he took them away in the restaurant, it would attract the attention of other local forces. Perhaps the news would quickly spread to the Claryman family, so he planned to wait for these people to leave the restaurant before making his move. At least you know what's good for you. When the man saw that Xiao Chen had shown weakness, he was very proud. In fact, although he was the great young Master Ramit's follower, fighting in the restaurant would not only affect his mood, but it would also be too conspicuous. Since the other party had shown weakness, it could not be any better. When the waiter saw that Xiao Chen had compromised, he immediately breathed a sigh of relief and quickly led the two of them to the side. Then he said, I'm sorry, please wait a moment. There will be a table of guests finishing eating soon. I'll help you arrange it. I'll give you another portion of your food and give you a 50% discount. How about that? Okay, no problem. Xiao Chen nodded. When the waiter saw that Xiao Chen was easy to talk to, he breathed a sigh of relief and quickly went to serve Ramit. Xiao Chen's previous seat had a good view. He could see the night view of the sea, and the seat was relatively spacious. Xiao Chen was now waiting for an ordinary table for two. It was very small and there was nothing to see. But it did not matter. Young man, let your girlfriend sit here and wait. I'll finish eating soon. At the place where Xiao Chen was waiting, an old man was eating alone. He was almost done eating and was about to finish. He greeted Xiao Chen in English. Okay, thank you very much. Xiao Chen was a straight-A student in school, so he had no problem communicating in English. He thought about it, sat down, and let Song Huawu sit on his lap. He saw that many couples were doing the same not far away. Song Huawu did not hesitate. She sat on Xiao Chen's lap and rubbed her buttocks twice. Xiao Chen immediately reacted and could not help but pat Song Huawu, indicating that she should behave. Song Huawu turned her head and grinned. It was obvious that she did it on purpose. You're welcome. Over there are people from the Claryman family. You must be visiting. Don't provoke them. The old man said slowly, they have a lot of power in the area. If we were to provoke them, it would be very troublesome. You guys are wise to not clash with them and give up your positions. Otherwise, the Claryman family is very powerful around here? Xiao Chen asked, nodding. That's right, it's not just powerful. It's like covering the sky with one hand. At this point, the old man sighed and a trace of sorrow flashed in his eyes. Is no one doing anything about it? Xiao Chen asked. Manage? Who cares? Who can control it? The old man shook his head. You don't know this because you're not from around here. Lego Town is their private land. It's an island they bought. It's their own territory. I see. Xiaochen did not expect the Claremont family to be even more powerful than the Kai family. They could actually afford to buy an island. You're not from around here. It's normal that you don't know. But I'm very puzzled. This is not a tourist city. What are you doing here? The old man said, a little puzzled. Those who come here are either the leaders of some small gangs that have joined the Claremont family or are here to buy firearms. Very few people come here to play. We're traveling on our own. We just want to go to some deserted places to see the local customs. We didn't expect to encounter such trouble. Xiaochen shrugged helplessly and said, I advise you to leave as soon as possible. It's very chaotic. The old man sighed. Otherwise, I'll be an example, you? Xiaochen looked at the old man in surprise. I'm not a local. 30 years ago, I brought my fiancé here to play. Just like you now. As the old man said this, a flash of sadness flashed in his cloudy eyes. In the end, I was young and impetuous. I had a conflict with the Claremont family. My fiancé was kidnapped by them. After being raped, my fiancé committed suicide by jumping into the sea. Not even her body was found. Xiaochen frowned and was a little angry. He did not expect the Claremont family to be so rampant. In Lon City, although the Kai family was a martial arts family, they did not dare to do this. Old sir, please restrain your grief. If there's a chance, I'll avenge you, Xiaochen said. I don't think about revenge anymore. The old man only thought that Xiaochen was comforting him. He shook his head and smiled bitterly. I just want to stay here with her now. As for the Claremont family, I don't have any thoughts about them. They're too powerful. I just hope, Xiaochen was slightly stunned. I just hope to meet a suitable person who can help me teach them a lesson. Forget it, let's not talk about this. I'm done eating. You guys can eat. As the old man spoke, he stood up and called for the waiter to settle the bill. Xiaochen and Song Huawu sat down. Very quickly, their dishes were served again. Xiaochen began to eat without batting an eyelid. What are your plans? This doesn't seem like your character, Song Huawu asked as she ate. In Lon City, if anyone dared to talk to Xiaochen like this, Xiaochen would cripple them, if not kill them. Song Huawu knew that Xiaochen was a ruthless person, but she backed down today. After we finish eating, find a chance to tie up Ramt and ask him about the Claremont family. Xiaochen said, this will make it easier for us to act. If we have a conflict in the restaurant, it will alert them. So you've already planned it. No wonder. Song Huawu felt that something was not quite right. Yes. Xiaochen nodded. On the other side, Ramt and his companions were obviously eating happily. They were happy that Xiaochen was tactful. However, they ate a little slowly, which made Xiaochen a little unhappy. They were taking their time eating. Just as Xiaochen was getting impatient, these people finally got up and prepared to leave. However, Ramt, who was walking in front, obviously had no intention of paying the bill. He swaggered out of the restaurant, and the people behind him whistled coolly. They had no intention of paying the bill at all. Xiaochen shook his head. These people were really arrogant. The waiter clearly saw them, but he did not dare to say anything. Xiaochen and Song Huawu had already paid the bill. They got up and followed them out. These people were drunk. Ramt, who was walking in front, said, I'm going to find a hotel to sleep for a while. You guys have fun. Yes, young Master Ramit. A few of them hurriedly agreed. It could be seen that Ram's alcohol tolerance was the worst among them. After the others finished drinking, there was not much of a problem, but Ramt could not. Accompanied by everyone, he staggered to the more luxurious hotel opposite Xiaochen's. Similarly, the receptionist not only did not dare to register his identity, but did not even dare to collect the room fee. Instead, she gave him a luxurious presidential room. "I'll go up myself. There's no need for you guys." Ramt waved his hand. Although these people were his subordinates, they were all his supporters. He was the second-in-line heir of the family. Whether he could ascend to the position in the future or not, he still needed the support of these people. Hence, he was very polite to these subordinates. "Okay." They nodded. Obviously, they had experienced this kind of thing many times. They were not surprised at all and turned to leave. As for Xiao Chen and Song Huawu, they turned to enter the hotel after they left. "Hello." The receptionist saw Xiao Chen and Song Huawu come in, so he greeted them. "Young Master Ramt is looking for us to deliver something to him." "Which room is he in?" Song Huawu asked. "Ah, it's in room 1201. The receptionist was taken aback. He did not dare to be negligent and quickly replied. "Oh." Song Huawu snorted and walked in the direction of the elevator with Xiao Chen. The people around Ramt were very arrogant. The receptionist had already experienced it, so he naturally did not think there was any problem. When Xiao Chen entered the elevator, he could not help but shake his head. Sigh, not only did these people not pay, but they were also so arrogant. He had to greet them with a smile. Otherwise, it would be a big problem. The two of them went up to the 12th floor and came to the door of room 1201. This was an independent room at the end of the corridor. There were no other doors nearby. At first glance, this room was very big. Xiao Chen opened the door casually, but Song Huawu was stunned. She looked at Xiao Chen in astonishment. Even a normal locksmith would need some time to open a lock, right? Moreover, the lock of this kind of hotel was relatively complicated. There was no keyhole, but it was unlocked by a sensor card, but he did not expect it to be opened so easily. How is it possible? However, before he could ask anything, Xiao Chen walked in. Song Huawu quickly followed him and closed the door behind her. At this moment, Ramt was sleeping on the bed. Xiao Chen walked over, grabbed Ramt's hair, and pulled him up. With a casual toss, Ramt was thrown to the ground. He was in a daze from the fall, and half of his drunken state had sobered up. Who? Ramt exclaimed. When he saw that the person in front of him was Xiao Chen, he was shocked and angry. "It's you? Kid, you dare to cause trouble for me?" "Oh." Xiao Chen stepped on Ramt's face. "Can you stop asking nonsense? I'm already here, and you still ask me if I dare or not. Are you stupid? If I were you, I would quickly kneel and beg for mercy. Maybe I won't beat you to death." You dare to beat me to death?" Ramt was a little shocked. "If you dare to touch me, believe it or not, you won't be able to leave the Lego waters." "Oh." Xiao Chen kicked Ramt's stomach, and this guy suddenly vomited on the ground. All the food and drink that he had eaten and drunk were vomited out. Xiao Chen picked up Ramt with some disgust and threw him to the other side. Then he said to Song Huawu, "Open the window. This smell is too bad." Chapter 586. Ramt seemed to have found a life-saving straw. When he heard Xiao Chen's words, his eyes lit up. "Don't come over. If you dare to come over again, I'll puke all over you." "Oh, Xiao Wu, open the big window. Open it wider." "I'll throw this person out," Xiao Chen said directly. "Okay." Song Huawu went to open the window. Xiao Chen was about to grab Ramt, and Ramt was so scared that he peed his pants. Seeing that Xiao Chen was about to grab him, he quickly shouted, Don't. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let you go before. I was wrong, this time." Ramt was really scared. The person in front of him was ruthless, and from his calm expression, Ramt knew that he had run into trouble. "You think it's over just because you were wrong?" Xiao Chen asked. Seeing that the person in front of him had no intention of compromising, Ramt could not help but threaten, Big brother, I admit that I was wrong before, but don't push your luck. The Claremont family is not to be trifled with. Oh. Is that so? Xiao Chen smiled faintly. Do you know why you're still alive now? Why you weren't killed by me before? As Xiao Chen spoke, he casually picked up a copper statue that was placed in the room and crushed it into a copper ball. Then, he directly smashed it onto Lamont's body. Lamont immediately cried out in pain, but his heart was filled with shock. Martial Knight? Ramt said in surprise. At this moment, no matter how stupid he was, he knew that the person in front of him was a legendary martial artist. Otherwise, he would not have such great strength. Judging from the roundness of this bronze ball, the person in front of him was at least at the 7th or 8th stage of inner force. I heard that you're from the Claremont family. It just so happens that I'm going to make a move on the Claremont family, so I left you alive and didn't kill you on the spot. Xiao Chen said as he looked at Ramt calmly. Huh? Ramt was stunned, then he suddenly laughed. Ha 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 ha, I said that you're too funny. You want to touch the Claremont family? I advise you to forget about it. Even if you are a martial master, it is useless. The Claremont family also has martial jockeys, and more than one. If you go, you'll be courting death. So, you'd better let me go and run. This won't do you any good. Huh, you don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about whether I can succeed or not. Right now, killing you is as easy as flipping my hand. Xiao Chen kicked Ramit's head, causing him to tumble. Don't talk nonsense to me. Now answer whatever I ask you, or I'll kill you. According to what you said, since we are going to die anyway, we might as well kill you first. Ramit stopped laughing. He felt that the person in front of him was a lunatic. He knew that he was going to die, but he still insisted on going. Most importantly, this person was right. It was as easy as flipping a hand to kill him. How many martial artists and martial masters are there in your family? Xiao Chen asked. Answer truthfully. I have already gotten some information from someone else. I'm just confirming. If you lie to me, you know the consequences. This. Ramit hesitated for a moment, but then he thought that this was not a secret. If he told the person in front of him, he could not do anything to the Claremont family. It would be suicide no matter what. It was more important to stay alive, so he said, our family has 15 martial knights and 4 martial jockeys. How strong are the martial jockeys? Xiao Chen asked. 1 level 1 martial jockey, 2 level 3 martial jockeys, and 1 level 4 martial jockey. Ramit answered truthfully, calculating in his heart. If this person did not ask about the number of martial knights, then he must also be an expert at the martial master level. Otherwise, he would not only care about one. Oh, got it. Xiao Chen nodded and said, do you know where one of your people, Vikings, stole an encrypted chip and brought it back? Oh. There was a flash of vigilance in Ramit's eyes. He looked at Xiao Chen and said, I don't know what you're talking about. What encrypted chip? My family doesn't have that thing. My family sells firearms. Oh, whatever you say. But if I'm unhappy, I'll punish you. Do you know what a firebird is? Xiao Chen smiled coldly and looked at Ramit maliciously. Firebird? Is it the immortal phoenix? Ramit was stunned. He did not know what this question meant, so he answered after thinking for a while. Firebird means to make your bird catch fire. Xiao Chen saw that Ramit was still confused, so he condensed a fireball and said, it means to burn your crotch. Ah. Ramit shivered in shock and shook his head repeatedly. No, are you going to tell me or not? Xiao Chen asked with a smile as he played with the fireball. Tell me what? Ramit asked carefully. Then you'd better play with the firebird. Xiao Chen threw the fireball at Ramit's crotch. Ouch! Ramit screamed. A burning sensation spread to his crotch. He involuntarily rolled back and forth on the ground, trying to extinguish the fire on his body, but it was to no avail. Xiao Chen threw another water ball over and extinguished the fire on Ramit's crotch. However, Ramit's crotch was scorched black. Ramit almost fainted from the pain. You! How can you just attack me like that? There's no room for negotiation at all. Now, I'll continue to ask you. Do you know where the encryption chip is? Xiao Chen smiled and said, next time, I'll let you play with fiery chrysanthemum. Although Ramit didn't know what flaming chrysanthemum was, he knew that it couldn't be anything good. The name was a little scary. After hesitating for a while, he decided that there was no harm in telling the person in front of him since he was no match for the family, so he said, that's right. That was stolen by my cousin. He's also the heir of the family. He made a great contribution this time. The family meeting even considered raising his ranking before mine. Don't talk nonsense. I'm asking you, where is the encryption chip now? Xiao Chen asked. The encryption chip. Of course, it's in the secret room of our Clariman family. Only the current patriarch has the authority to open it. No one else can enter, Ramit said. Ramit said, I'm not lying to you. Even my cousin, Vikings, who stole this chip, can't get it now. If you don't study the decryption chip, what's the use of hiding it? Xiao Chen suddenly asked, puzzled. It's not really hidden. Ramit explained. Our family doesn't have an expert who is good at decryption, but the Sakura group that cooperates with us has a professional technician. We wait for him to come over, and then we study the decryption together. But before that, to avoid any accidents, we put away the encryption chip first. Then, now, draw me a map of your family. Xiao Chen nodded. What Ramit said was reasonable, and looking at his expression, he did not seem to be lying. Drawing it is useless. You can't be a match for the Clariman family. Ramit muttered. Do you want to try fiery chrysanthemum? Xiao Chen snorted. I'll draw it. Can't I draw it? Ramit shook his head. What he said and the map to be drawn were not a big secret at all. Many people had been to the Clariman family, and they all roughly knew the location inside. As for Vikings stealing the encryption chip and cooperating with the Sakura group, it was probably Xiao Chen who knew about it. Otherwise, he would not have been able to find this place. Song Huawu took the pen and paper, gave it to Ramit, and asked him to draw the map on it. After a while, Ramit finished drawing and handed it to Xiao Chen. He said, take a look now. Isn't this fine? You can let me go, right? Xiao Chen took the map and looked at it. Although the map was not very well drawn, it was very clear. All the places and positions were marked, but what Xiao Chen was most concerned about was the location of the secret room. Well, okay. Take us back with you tomorrow, Xiao Chen said lightly. Go back together? Ramit was a little puzzled. Is this person really not afraid of death? Does he think that with his strength alone, he can deal with the Clariman family? Yes, you can sleep for a while now, Xiao Chen said as he slapped Ramit's neck, making him fall asleep. What should we do? Take him away, or stay here? Song Huawu looked at the vomit on the ground with some disgust. Also, Ramit was now wearing diapers, and she could not bear to look at him. Of course, take him back. Xiao Chen rummaged through the room and only found a woven bag for a quilt, but it did not matter. Xiao Chen folded Ramit and stuffed him into the bag. Then, he carried the bag and did not take the elevator. Under the cover of the night, he stood in front of the window sill and said to Song Huawu, you come. Hold me on my back. You want to jump down? Song Huawu was a little surprised. Yes. Xiao Chen said, it's not good to take the elevator directly while carrying the bag. It will not be good if people notice us in advance. Oh. Song Huawu believed in Xiao Chen's ability, so she jumped on his back and hugged him. Xiao Chen carried the bag and jumped directly from the 12th floor. No one noticed. This was the back of the hotel. After landing safely, Xiao Chen took 2 steps before he felt someone behind him. Huawu, we're here. Why aren't you coming down yet? Xiaochen asked. Are we here? I closed my eyes just now, Song Huawu jumped down and said naturally. Okay. Xiaochen quickly walked in front and returned to the restaurant they were at before. Ramit's disappearance did not attract much attention. In the past, Ramit would wake up the next day and contact his gang of scoundrels. If he did not take the initiative to contact them, no one would disturb him. Chapter 587. Xiaochen hit Ramit again. He probably wouldn't wake up for a few hours. Xiaochen, aren't you a bit of a pervert? Song Huawu asked as she lay on the bed. Why do you say that? Xiaochen asked. Otherwise, why would you have a firebird and a chrysanthemum? Song Huawu stared at Xiaochen. I think you have an extraordinarily heavy taste. Ugh, wasn't that just to scare this kid? Xiaochen was speechless. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so obedient. Okay. Song Huawu didn't say anything else. In fact, Song Huawu felt that she had a psychological problem, so she thought that Xiaochen had a psychological problem like her. That way, she would feel more at ease. Who knew that Xiaochen seemed to be fine? What's wrong? Look at you. It seems that I'm fine, but you're not happy. Xiaochen was a little puzzled when he saw Song Huawu pouting. He had a feeling that this chick had become a little abnormal after he treated her injuries. Oh, that's not true. Song Huawu blushed. She naturally couldn't admit that she was a bit abnormal and liked being stared at by Xiaochen, so she pretended to say, I just think that next time, you shouldn't let him be disheveled in front of a girl. Otherwise, if he sees something he shouldn't see, he'll get a pinprick. Huh? Then why did you look for an adult channel? Xiaochen asked curiously. Didn't I watch it with you? Song Huawu said. Besides, that's beautiful. How can it compare to this disgusting one? Okay, you always have a reason. Xiaochen shook his head. Go to sleep. I'll watch Ramit. This kid can't run away. And, then you come to bed too. Song Huawu said. Xiaochen had a feeling that Song Huawu was trying to seduce him, but he still did as she said and lay down on the bed. Otherwise, he would have nowhere to go. Even if he had to monitor Ramit, he needed a place to rest. Song Huawu was clearly tired and soon fell asleep. However, Xiaochen continued to cultivate. The next morning, Song Huawu woke up and put on her clothes. Only when the two of them were busy did Ramit wake up. At first, Ramit thought that he was out of danger. However, when he opened his eyes, he saw Xiaochen and his face was full of bitterness. Big brother, you haven't run yet. I told you, you're no match for the Clariman family. Won't we know once we get there? Besides, I'm going to talk to your patriarch. If he doesn't agree, I'll take measures against him. Xiaochen said. All right. Ramit thought to himself that the person in front of him must be a lunatic. With just the strength of the two of them, they wanted to go against the Clariman family? Wasn't that courting death? However, let him be. It was fine as long as he was fine. Then, now, quickly change your clothes and lead the way. Take us to see your patriarch. Xiaochen said. Oh, okay. Originally, Ramit was still thinking about how to secretly inform the family, but now it saved him a lot of trouble. These two reckless people wanted to follow him back to the family. When they reached Lego Town, it would be the Clariman family's territory. At that time, Xiaochen would not be able to escape even if he wanted to. Seeing that Ramit was so happy, Xiaochen did not say much. He took him and Song Huawu and checked out of the room, then went to the dock. Ramit and Xiaochen each had their own thoughts. In his opinion, Xiaochen was courting death, so there was no need for him to offend him anymore. Ramit's D*CK was still hurting, and he was still walking like a big crab. The three of them came to the dock together. Everyone was waiting in line for the ticket office at the dock to start selling tickets. Because it was still early, the tickets had not started selling yet. However, Ramit did not go to line up. He swaggered to the deck of the cruise ship, not caring whether it was open or not. However, when the staff in charge of ticket inspection saw Ramit, he immediately opened the railing with a smile and let Ramit board the ship first. A sailor on the ship came over and asked quickly, "Young Master Ramit, you and your companions are still sitting in the first-class cabin, right?" A sailor on the ship came over and asked quickly, "Young Master Ramit, you and your companions are still sitting in the first-class cabin, right?" Ramit snorted faintly, then, under the guidance of the sailor, entered an independent private room. This was the first-class cabin of the cruise ship. "Ramit, I didn't expect you to have such a big face. You still want to sit in the first-class cabin without paying?" Xiao Chen's words were a little sarcastic, but Ramit did not hear it. Instead, he said proudly, "That's right. In the Lego Sea, everyone has to give face to the Claremont family, unless they want to die. This cruise ship transportation company also has to pay a large management fee to our family every year." Ramit said this because he wanted Xiao Chen to be more polite to him. However, Xiao Chen just nodded indifferently and said, "Then you probably don't have to pay in the future." "Why?" Ramit was stunned. "If I destroy your family, then there's no need." Xiao Chen smiled and said, "Of course, if you obediently hand over the chip, I will consider letting your family go." Is there something wrong with this person's brain? Ramit cursed in his heart, but he did not dare to refute. He could only say, "Oh." In his heart, he thought, "If you go to Lego Town, you will die." Xiao Chen and Song Huawu each picked up a newspaper and leaflet distributed on the ship and read it. Ramit watched the TV in boredom. After a while, other guests gradually boarded the ship, and the ship set off for Lego Town. Although Lego Town was dominated by the Claremont family, there were still many other residents in the town. The fishing industry here was very developed, and most of these people were in the seafood business. Of course, there were also people who went to discuss cooperation with the Claremont family. Although the Claremont family was in the arms business, they also had some other businesses, but they were all handled by some collateral relatives. After about an hour, the ship arrived at the dock of Lego Town, and Ramit was naturally the first to get off the ship. "Brother, what do you want me to do now?" Ramit asked Xiao Chen after getting off the ship. "Find me a place and let your family head negotiate," Xiao Chen said. He did not want to go back to the Claremont family with Ramit for the time being. He was not afraid of the other party's warriors and masters. As long as Xiao Chen wanted to escape, those people would not be able to stop him. However, he was afraid of guns and cannons. This was the Claremont family's base camp. They had started off by selling arms. If Xiao Chen was bombed there, it would not be worth it. As for a larger hotel, no matter how crazy the Claremont family was, they could not directly open fire on the hotel. That would be destroying their own foundation. There would definitely be many Claremont family guests in the hotel. Sure enough, when he heard that Xiao Chen did not want to go with him and simply wanted to find a hotel to wait, he was a little unhappy. He believed that as long as Xiao Chen followed him, he would definitely die a horrible death. However, since Xiao Chen had spoken, he could not refuse. He nodded and said, "There's a Claremont hotel nearby. It's run by my family. I'll send you there. Lead the way." Xiao Chen nodded. This Claremont hotel was indeed luxurious. Xiao Chen took a look and felt at ease. This hotel's architecture was very exquisite and unique. If the Claremont family could destroy a hotel for him alone, they would be out of their minds. Because Ramit was there, Xiao Chen did not have to pay to stay. Ramit returned to his family. He had to report this matter to the family head and the elders as soon as possible. After leaving the hotel, Ramit flagged down a taxi. He did not want to walk back. His D**CK was already hurting. The taxi driver obviously knew Ramit and did not dare to neglect him. Although he knew that he would not earn any fares, he still greeted him with a smile and sent Ramit to the Claremont family. The Claremont family was located on an independent island near the small town of Lego. It was connected by a suspension bridge in the middle. On the other side of the suspension bridge, it was completely the private territory of the Claremont family. The car drove across the suspension bridge and stopped in the empty parking lot in front of a European-style castle. Ramit got out of the car without paying, then limped toward the castle. The taxi driver did not dare to say much and drove away. However, Ramit had only taken a few steps when a tall man walked toward him. This man was the first-in-line heir of the Claremont family. He was also the grandson of Mallory, the current patriarch of the Claremont family, Jorley. He was Ramit's cousin. In fact, although Ramit was the second-in-line heir, he had no intention of competing for the position of the family head. He knew his own capabilities and knew that he did not have the ability to shoulder the responsibility at all. His ultimate goal was to eat, drink, and have fun, and then become an elder of the family. He had obtained his position as the second-in-line heir entirely because he and Jorley had the same grandfather. Although Ramit was born of a concubine, he was still of the main bloodline, so he became the second-in-line heir. As for the third-in-line heir, Vikings, he was the grandson of an elder. "My dear cousin Ramit, what's wrong with you? Why are you walking sideways like a crab, and why are you so sullen?" Jorley looked at Ramit, who was walking sideways with an unhappy expression, and asked curiously. "Don't mention it, cousin. I'm really unlucky this time." When Ramit thought of Xiao Qin, he immediately gritted his teeth in anger. He said hatefully, "I was taught a lesson in the Lego Sea yesterday. You don't know, I almost became a woman, and my birdie was burned." "Ah. What happened?" Jorley's eyes widened in disbelief. "You were taught a lesson? But who dared to touch you? Didn't they know you were from the Claremont family?" Chapter 588. "Hey, isn't it all because of that fellow, Vikings?" Ramit rolled his eyes and said, "The two people who dealt with me are both from Great Xia. Vikings went to Great Xia and stole the encrypted chip. In the end, he was found out by them, and they happened to know that I was the young master of the Claremont family. As a result, I was unlucky. They taught me a lesson and forced me to bring them here." "Oh." Xiao Kelly was stunned. "So, they followed you here?" "Not really. I arranged for them to stay at the Claremont Hotel, but this is all because of Vikings. Cousin, we can't just let it go," Ramit said sternly. "Vikings has been very active recently. He wants to use this merit to snatch my position as the second-in-line heir. Cousin, you know me. I have always followed your lead and definitely won't snatch your position as the young master in the future. But Vikings is different. That fellow is ambitious. If he surpasses me and becomes the second-in-line heir, he will definitely launch an all-out attack on you." "Well, what you said makes sense." Xiao Kelly couldn't help but frown after hearing this. He was also calculating in his heart. As the first-in-line heir of the family, naturally, it was not just because of his identity as the first grandson. He also had his own thoughts in other aspects. He was thinking about the pros and cons of this matter and whether it would bring him any benefits. Of course, revenge for Ramit was a must, but before that, he had to make a big deal out of it and affect Vikings. How could he do this? In his opinion, it was tantamount to courting death for only two people to dare to cause trouble at the Claremont family. It was very easy to kill them, but if they died, they would at most help Ramit vent his anger. He thought about it and said, "How about this, Ramit? You come with me to see Grandpa, and then you tell him everything that happened. Is that okay?" "Of course, there's no problem." Ramit laughed. He understood what Xiao Kelly meant. That was to cause trouble for Vikings. Of course, he was happy to do so. Vikings did not have a good relationship with him. Of course, he had to support Xiao Kelly's ascension. Only when Xiao Kelly was promoted would he have a good life in the future. Otherwise, if Vikings was promoted, he might not even be able to get the position of an elder. Although Ramit's abilities were limited, he was still outstanding. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been the second-in-line heir in such an intense family. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. Then, they walked into the most majestic castle in the courtyard. This was the residence of the elder Klarman, the core of the Klarman family's power. In the Klarman family, the only person who could be called Old Klarman was the patriarch, because no one else could represent the Klarman family. In the living room of the castle, Chow Kelly thought for a while and said to Ramuda, "Cousin Ramuda, rest in the living room for a while. I'll report to Grandpa. Then I'll leave it to you, cousin." Ramit nodded, sat on the sofa, and said, "By the way, cousin, help me out. Don't tell anyone that I'm causing trouble outside." When they walked into the castle, Ramuda did not hide anything and told Chow Kelly everything that had happened in detail. However, this did not mean that he could tell Old Klarman about it. Chow Kelly smiled at Ramuda and said, "Don't worry, Ramuda. I know what I'm doing. I'll definitely put in a good word for you with Grandpa." "That's good. Thank you, cousin." Hearing Chow Kelly's words, Ramuda was relieved. Chow Kelly went upstairs, while Ramuda read the newspaper in the living room. The servant served him juice and coffee. Of course, Ramuda was not in the mood to drink these. He was worried about his grandfather's attitude. Not long after, footsteps came from the stairs. Chow Kelly and Old Klarman came downstairs together. The two of them talked as they walked. "Grandpa, this is what happened. This is really an unexpected disaster for Ramuda," Chow Kelly said. "If Vikings hadn't bragged about it outside and made it known to everyone, how would others know that he was from the Klarman family? Why would they come looking for him?" "Well, you're right. Vikings is still too young, and he's too impetuous. He went out to look for someone to cooperate with. As long as he showed his strength, he wouldn't have to worry about not being able to find someone to cooperate with. He revealed his family background, so he could only reveal his background," said a vigorous and powerful voice. It was Elder Klarman of the Klarman family. "Grandpa, you're here. I'm really sorry to have caused you trouble. I was beaten up, and I've embarrassed the Klarman family." When Ramuda saw his grandfather coming downstairs, he quickly stood up, looking like a child who had done something wrong. "Well, Chow Kelly has already told me about it. It's not your fault," Old Klarman said. Old Claryman said, "Vikings is too young. He's causing trouble outside. It's just that you're unlucky. Grandpa, it's not Vikings' fault. He did it for the family. Don't blame him too much," Ramuda said. "I heard from Chow Kelly that those two people wanted to talk to me about something?" Old Klarman asked. "Yes, they said they wanted to talk to our family master about something." Ramuda said, "Grandpa, are you going? They threatened to take action against our family." "Just the two of them and you?" Old Klarman was a little puzzled. Where did they get their confidence from? Do they think they can do anything to the Klarman family with just the two of them? "I don't know, Grandpa, but they are all martial knights or martial jockeys," Ramuda said. "Well, the other party is probably from the Dasya country's Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It's not good for us to get rid of them in broad daylight. If we want to get rid of them, we have to find the right time." Old Klarman nodded and said, "Let's do it this way. I'll hold a family meeting to study it." "Chow Kelly, too?" "Yes, Grandpa." Chow Kelly replied quickly. Chow Kelly had become the most prestigious young man in the family's third generation. If there were no accidents, he would become the family's third-generation candidate for the family master, so he would attend all the family meetings. However, it was worth mentioning that ever since Vikings completed this task and obtained the encrypted chip, his status in the Klarman family had skyrocketed. He was now allowed to attend the family meetings. This was a treatment that even Ramuda, the second-in-line heir, did not have. It was enough to show how much the family valued him. Although Old Klarman was somewhat biased towards his grandson, Chow Kelly, Viking's ascension was unstoppable. The other elders had agreed, so he could only agree. Otherwise, if they quarreled, it would affect the unity of the family. Even the family master could not have the final say. The family meeting of the Klarman family was held. Attending the meeting were Old Klarman, the great elder, who was Viking's grandfather, the second elder, the third elder, and Xiao Kelly and Vikings' two juniors. The great elder was Old Klarman's younger brother, while the second elder and the third elder were the sons of Old Klarman and the great elder respectively. They were also the fathers of Xiao Kelly and Vikings. The Klarman family maintained the habit of passing the position across generations. Generally, it was the grandfather who passed the position to the grandson. As the second generation of the family, although they would have a place in the Elders' Association, they could not challenge for the position of the family master. This was a tradition. The frequent change of the family master would bring some unstable factors to the stable development of the family because everyone was fighting for power and profit. Now, the second generation simply did not have the right to inherit the position of the family master. There was the old family master above and the second generation below. It was impossible for the third generation to stir up too much trouble. This is what happened. Everyone understands the situation. This matter is entirely because Vikings revealed his identity outside, causing the other party to come to our door, Old Klarman said after briefly describing the situation. This can't be blamed on Vikings, right? The great elder spoke. He was Vikings' grandfather, so he naturally spoke for Vikings. He went to Great Xia to look for cooperation. If he did not reveal his identity and background, who would cooperate with him? Grandpa, Vikings is indeed at fault in this matter. Vikings quickly lowered his head at this time and took the initiative to admit his mistake. Although they may not believe me if I don't reveal my identity, I feel that as long as I work hard to show my strength, they will eventually be able to cooperate with me. It's just that the research at the research base is nearing its end. I'm afraid that if it takes too long, the encrypted chip will be sent out again. By then, it will be too late for us to take action. Although Vikings was admitting his mistake, he also clarified a key point. That was, he did not have the time to show his strength for fear that the encrypted chip would be sent out. Old Klarman's old face turned red. Vikings did not mention this matter when he came back. He thought that Vikings was eager for quick success, but now it seemed that Vikings was thinking for the sake of the family and was afraid that the encrypted chip would be lost. Grandpa, I think Vikings is also doing it for the family. Our ultimate purpose is for the family, but as far as I know, before Vikings set off, he had already made contact with the Wave Dojo and the Sakura group over there. He used his identity as a member of the Klarman family. He did not reveal his family background only after understanding the situation. Jock Kelly added with a fake smile. He had already investigated the matter thoroughly. Old Klarman was suddenly amused again. Jock Kelly was still the best at this crucial moment. He nodded and said, well, Vikings is indeed wrong in this matter, so let's make up for his mistakes. He is still the third-in-line heir. Does anyone have any objections? Of course not. The great elder had no choice. It was not a big deal that Vikings had been caught, but who would have thought that the other party's people would come and beat up Rant? This time, it became Vikings' responsibility. Chapter 589. I'll follow the family's arrangements. Vikings' heart was bleeding. He hated the two people from Great Xia to the core, and he wished he could kill them as soon as possible. Originally, nothing had happened, and he was about to fight for the position of second-in-line heir. In the end, well, then, next, let's study how to deal with these two people from Great Xia. If my guess is right, they should be special agents from Great Xia, people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Old Claryman said. Grandfather, since these two people dared to provoke our Claryman family and beat up Cousin Ramt, I suggest we send the family's experts to kill them. Vikings hated Xiao Chen and Rudolph to the core, so his first thought was to kill them to vent his anger. Well, not bad. I think Vikings has been following up on this matter. It's better to let Vikings handle it. Xiao Kelly had achieved his goal of suppressing Vikings, so he no longer cared about how to deal with Xiao Chen and Rudolph. He just needed to vent Ram's anger. As for whether they were killed, tortured, or maimed, it didn't matter. Well, sure. Then let Vikings handle this matter on behalf of the family. Old Claryman nodded. Yes, Master. Vikings nodded. In his opinion, killing the two special agents from Great Xia from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was as easy as flipping his hand. Vikings also had a lot of authority in the family, especially since he was under the orders of the master this time. Therefore, he mobilized the family's two martial jockey experts, one level 1 and the other level 3, to the Claryman Hotel. The other party claimed to be negotiating with the Claryman family's patriarch. What a joke. Two outsiders actually wanted to behave atrociously in Lego Town. They really didn't know what was good for them. Vikings didn't even intend to show up. Instead, he just let the two of them kill them. He hated them to the core. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of these two people and coincidentally teaching Ramp a lesson, he would have become the second-in-line heir by now, right? Thinking of this, he was filled with hatred. He said to the two military jockeys, "When you get there, ask them if they are from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Whether they are or not, just kill them and bring their bodies back. But remember, you must control the battle within a controllable range. Don't affect the other tenants and the reputation of the Claryman family. If there was a murder in the Claryman Hotel, to a certain extent, everyone would feel that even the Claryman family's hotel was not safe. In that case, they would not be able to stay in Lego Town. Don't worry, young Master Vikings. We'll get rid of them quietly." The two martial cavalry masters nodded. "All right, you guys go ahead." Vikings didn't think too much about it. In his opinion, the experts of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau were at most first-stage martial artists because high-level martial artists couldn't carry out these missions. The first-level and third-level martial riders got ready and headed to the Claryman Hotel. They successfully found the room Xiao Chen was in and knocked on the door. "Who is it?" Song Huawu had just come out of the bathroom after washing two fruits. She asked when she heard the knock on the door. "Waiter, I'm here to provide you with free condoms," the first-level martial rider said. Song Huawu was stunned, and her face turned red. However, after thinking about it, she still opened the door. Song Huawu couldn't be blamed for being careless. If they had knocked on the door for any other reason, Song Huawu would definitely have asked in detail. However, this waiter was here to deliver condoms, so Song Huawu didn't suspect anything. What bad guy could use such a strange reason? Moreover, Song Huawu also wanted to tease Xiao Chen and secretly place the condoms on his bed to see his reaction. Therefore, Song Huawu was afraid that Xiao Chen would hear her from inside, so she quickly opened the door. She actually found it difficult to understand her own thoughts now, and it felt weird. The moment the door was opened, it was pushed open by a huge force. Song Huawu was bounced back by the door and fell to the ground. The fruits in her hands also fell to the ground. Two burly men walked in, and the third-level martial rider behind them closed the door. In fact, Xiao Chen also heard what the waiter said. How could he not hear it? With his cultivator's six senses, it was naturally impossible to hide from him at such a close distance. However, he didn't pay much attention to it. However, when he heard that something was wrong, he quickly walked out. At that moment, a pistol with a silencer was pointed directly at Xiao Chen's head. Song Huawu was ignored. The moment Song Huawu was bounced back by the door, she only displayed the strength of a martial artist. To the two martial riders, this was no threat at all. They didn't even bother to point their guns at her. In their eyes, Song Huawu was a dead person, however, hee. The relationship between the two of them was that of a senior and junior brother. They had trained together since young, so they had a tacit understanding of each other. Seeing that Song Huawu was beautiful and was an Asian, which was rare to see an Asian beauty here, the two brothers were prepared to kill Xiao Chen in a while and play with Song Huawu before killing her. Wouldn't it be a waste to kill such a beautiful woman? Tell me, where are you from? What organization do you belong to? Pointing at Xiao Chen's third-layer martial rider, he shouted, "Tell me the truth, and I'll give you a quick death." As you can see, one of us is a first-layer martial rider, and the other is a third-layer martial rider. If we want to torture you to death and interrogate you about your background, it's as easy as flipping our hands. The level 3 martial rider spoke in English, so he didn't believe that Xiao Chen couldn't understand him. He thought that since Xiao Chen was a special agent, it was impossible for him not to know English. "Oh, what did you say?" Xiao Chen asked in Great Xia's language. "Who are you people?" "We are tourists." "Ah." The level 3 martial rider was stunned. He didn't understand what Xiao Chen was talking about. When he saw Xiao Chen's innocent look, he was stunned. He said that they are tourists, but that's impossible. "Kid, tell me the truth." The level 3 martial rider could understand Great Xia's language. He looked at Xiao Chen coldly and said angrily, "Don't try to deceive us. Our patience is limited." Xiao Chen was deliberately stalling for time. With his own ability, he obviously couldn't contend with two martial master level experts. It wasn't a problem for the level 3 martial rider to fight them. The level 3 martial rider was too big of a gap. "Oh, then kill me." "I am really a tourist," Xiao Chen said innocently. "Humph, don't think that I won't dare to shoot." The level 3 martial rider was thinking of playing with Song Huawu later, so he was a little anxious. Since Xiao Chen didn't say anything, he didn't have to say anything. He pulled the trigger and went back to tell Vikings. As long as Xiao Chen didn't say anything, it would be fine. Anyway, with the corpses in hand, he just needed to do a little investigation and ask his two partners, the Cherry Blossom Group and the Surge Club, to find out the true identity of these two people. Bang! There was a loud sound. "Ah!" Xiao Chen screamed, giving Song Huawu, who didn't know what to do, a fright. Song Huawu fell to the ground and didn't dare to act rashly. These two people didn't hide their aura, and the strength of a level 1 and level 3 martial master was completely exposed. Just as she was worried, the other party opened fire. At this moment, Song Huawu wanted to pounce on these two people and fight it out with them. Something had happened to Xiao Chen. Her heart contracted fiercely. She didn't know why, but she was very concerned about Xiao Chen now. Perhaps it was because she was an orphan since she was young, but she was actually lonely inside. Suddenly, she had a friend like Xiao Chen, who was closer to her than a good friend. Song Huawu regarded him as her everything. However, what happened next made her speechless. She even wanted to stand up and give Xiao Chen a kick. "Why did you scream when you said you were fine?" "Aya, it's so tragic." Xiao Chen looked at the level 3 martial rider whose pistol had exploded in front of him and said pitifully, "Your right hand has exploded. The power of your gun is really not small. As expected of a family that sells firearms. It's powerful, but the quality isn't so good. You didn't kill me, but you blew yourself up." The level 3 martial rider was also stunned as he looked at his missing right hand and his raised forearm with the bloody gourd. He couldn't believe that the pistol would explode. How was that possible? However, the piercing pain made him understand that all of this was true. He regretted not using his chi to protect his body when he fired. In fact, who would have thought that he would need to protect himself when he shot someone with an absolute advantage? This was completely illogical. The reason for such a strange scene was that Xiao Chen had secretly instructed in Xiaoma while he was stalling for time just now. He secretly condensed a small ice ball in his hand and asked in Xiaoma to secretly stuff the small ice ball into the pistol of the level 3 martial rider. And Xiaoma's movements were very fast. He quickly completed this action when the level 3 martial rider turned his head to explain and returned to Xiao Chen's divine sense space. How hard was the ice condensed from vitality? It would be strange if it didn't explode when it was stuffed into the chamber of the gun. However, the two martial riders would never have thought that Xiao Chen would play such a trick. Just as the two martial riders were panicking, Xiao Chen directly hit the level 1 martial rider with a fireball. The man instantly turned into a flaming man, screaming. The level 3 martial rider also reacted at this time and attacked Xiao Chen with his left hand. However, this person was good at attacking with his right hand. The strength of his left hand was much weaker, and he was also good at using his fists. This time, the strength of the level 3 martial rider was greatly reduced. "Hua Wu, shoot him!" Xiao Chen yelled at Song Hua Wu. Song Hua-woo was stunned. She didn't have a gun. She and Xiao Chen came through the proper channels. They took several flights along the way, and the security check was very strict. It was impossible to bring a gun here. However, the level 3 martial rider didn't think of this. He thought that since Xiao Chen and Song Hua-woo were secret agents, it was not a big deal for the secret agents to have guns. His family also sold weapons, so he also knew how easy it was to buy weapons locally. Chapter 590. Getting a gun from any gangster leader was not a difficult task at all. Therefore, in an instant, he turned his head to look at Song Hua-woo, only to be greeted with a kick from Xiao Chen. Although the kick did not cause any harm to him, it made his body hit the body of the first-floor martial rider. Instantly, the true samadhi fire began to spread on his body. Ouch! He had never expected such a terrifying flame to exist. Only when he was truly engulfed in flames did he understand why the first-floor martial rider had not extinguished the flames on his body. Instead, the flames were burning even more vigorously. Both of them kept rolling on the ground and screaming. However, the momentum of the first-floor martial rider was getting weaker and weaker. The floor of the room was made of gorgeous marble, but it would not burn. Xiao Chen was not worried that it would burn Song Hua-woo. However, Xiao Chen's 3 true samadhi fires were rather large. Trying to extinguish the fire by rolling on the ground was undoubtedly a fool's dream. Xiao Chen had almost exhausted all his primordial qi to activate this ultimate move. If it was so easy to extinguish, what was the point of playing? Very soon, the first-floor martial rider could not take it anymore. Waves of burnt smell came from his body, and the third-floor martial rider was also struggling on his deathbed. The two of them had come in high spirits, thinking that killing Xiao Chen would be a piece of cake. Even taking down Song Hua-woo had been part of their fantasies. However, they had not expected that the moment they met, the two of them would die. Hua-woo, open the window. Xiao Chen smiled coldly and said to Song Hua-woo. At the same time, his eyes were filled with mockery and sympathy. If the two of you can survive, tell your family heads to come personally next time. Don't send you as cannon fodder. Sigh, how pitiful. The two martial riders' eyes were filled with horror. They did not know what Xiao Chen was going to do. At this moment, Song Hua-woo had already opened the large floor-to-ceiling windows. Xiao Chen, on the other hand, raised his leg and kicked the first-floor martial rider's body as if he was kicking a soccer ball. He was sent flying out of the window. Next was the third-layer martial rider. He was also kicked out by Xiao Chen with a whoosh. He wanted to resist, but he was unable to do so at all. Ah! 2 screams came from outside. Just as Xiao Chen went over to close the window, he heard 2 loud bangs. It was obvious that the two of them had already fallen down the building. Xiao Chen casually glanced down and saw 2 pools of blood. These 2 martial cavalry masters couldn't be any more dead. It seemed like his wish of reporting to their clan's patriarch would not come true. Sigh, how pitiful. Xiao Chen curled his lips. Xiao Chen. Song Hua-woo hugged Xiao Chen's waist from behind. Her body softly pressed against Xiao Chen's body. What are you doing? Xiao Chen's body stiffened. He was at a loss. Song Hua-woo had only been flirting with him verbally. Why did she suddenly press herself against him? I was scared to death just now. I thought the two of us were finished. Song Hua-woo said with a lingering fear, you don't know how those 2 people looked at me. Their eyes were filled with lust and I was too weak to do anything. They were experts at the 1st and 3rd level of the martial master realm. I'm afraid, what? Those 2 wanted to do something to you? That was too good for them. If I had known, I would have let them have a taste of the firebird and roasted chrysanthemum. After hearing this, Xiao Chen did not think much about it. Song Hua-woo was a girl. After being frightened, it was normal for her to find someone to hug. Coincidentally, he was her good friend. He could make her do that. Therefore, Xiaochen patted Song Huawu's back and comforted her. It's okay. It's just a few mobs. It was rare to see someone in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau who dared to say that a martial master was a mobs. Moreover, the other party was a third-floor martial master. Then hug me again, Song Huawu said. Okay, then hug. Xiaochen hugged Song Huawu from the front. The two of them hugged each other in front of the floor-to-ceiling window like a pair of romantic lovers. However, the downstairs was not so romantic. It could even be said to be filled with horror. In broad daylight, many guests of the Claryman Hotel were wandering downstairs, basking in the sun, drinking drinks, and chatting. However, who would have thought that suddenly, there would be two loud bangs? Two burning people fell from the sky and smashed into pieces. Although they fell in a green belt in front of the hotel, they were not too far away from these people. Seeing this bloody scene with their own eyes, these people all screamed and scattered. Only a few bold ones watched from afar. At this time, the security team of the Claryman Hotel immediately sent a pair of security guards. While collecting the two corpses, the manager of the Claryman Hotel, Baxa, dialed the number of the Claryman family. Because it was an important matter, after several transfers, it was finally transferred to the head of the family's elder, Claryman. What's wrong, Baxa? I heard you say that something happened at the hotel. What happened? Old Claryman said calmly, not panicking at all. Yes, reporting to the old patriarch. Just now, two people on fire suddenly fell from upstairs and landed on the lawn in front of the hotel. They were smashed into pieces and blood was everywhere. It was very scary. What do you think we should do about this? Baxa said hurriedly, the security team has sealed off the vicinity of the hotel and temporarily restricted guests from checking out and leaving. Oh, there's no need to restrict them. I know what's going on. Old Claryman scolded Vikings in his heart. Didn't he know that making a move in the hotel would affect the reputation of the Claryman family? It would be fine if it was an ordinary hotel, but the key thing was that this hotel was his family's. What's more, they even made it so scary. Who did Vikings send to do it? That's good. We'll keep the corpses first and then restore order in the hotel? Baxa asked. Yes, I'll send someone to take over the two corpses, old Claryman said. All right, Baxa hurriedly replied. After hanging up the phone, old Claryman immediately called for a family meeting. To everyone's bewilderment, he severely criticized Vikings. Vikings, why don't you consider the consequences of your actions? Just throw those two people on fire from the window of the hotel. There are guests downstairs. Even if there is a green belt below, what if they accidentally hurt the guests? And do you know how much your actions will affect the reputation of the Claryman family? Vikings was a little puzzled. Patriarch, the people I sent haven't replied yet? And I also told the two of them not to be too ostentatious. Patriarch, I think it's better to wait for those two people to come back and ask them about the situation. After all, Vikings didn't go. Maybe there was an emergency at that time? The great elder said, just now, you also mentioned that they were on fire. Our people shouldn't burn others randomly. I think it's possible that those two people were not strong enough, so they wanted to self-immolate and perish together. That's why our people were afraid of burning the hotel, so they threw them out of the window. Old Claryman thought about it. The great elder did make sense, and his goal of suppressing Vikings had been achieved. Regardless of whether that was the case or not, Vikings was responsible. So he said, that's true, but Vikings still failed in his duty. How about this, Vikings, quickly contact the two people you sent out and ask them what happened. Yes, Patriarch. Vikings nodded and dialed the phone number of the two military jockeys. In the hotel room where the corpses were stored, the deputy captain of the security team was guarding it. Suddenly, a phone rang from the corpse. It turned out to be a phone call from the third-floor military jockey. The phones carried by the martial artists of the Claryman family were all triple-proof phones made of special materials. They were fireproof, waterproof, and resistant to falling. Before the Samadhi true fire on the third-floor military jockey could spread, he was kicked off by Xiao Chen and fell to his death. Otherwise, even a triple-proof phone would not have been able to escape the Samadhi true fire. The deputy captain of the security team was shocked. He quickly walked over and took out the phone, but he was stunned. Wasn't this a custom-made phone from the Claryman family? As the deputy captain of the security team, he also used such a phone. If it were an ordinary phone, he would not have picked it up, but not only was this phone a custom-made phone from the Claryman family, but the caller ID was actually young Master Vikings. Seeing this, the deputy captain of the security team quickly picked up the phone. "Hello, young Master Vikings. Where are you? Why aren't you back yet? Why doesn't the voice sound right? Who are you?" Vikings was halfway through his sentence when he suddenly realized that the voice was not quite right. It was not the voice of a level 3 martial rider, so he quickly asked. "Young Master Vikings, I am the deputy captain of the security team of the Claryman Hotel." The deputy captain of the security team said quickly. "Oh. Why are you answering the phone? Where's the level 3 martial rider?" Vikings asked. "What level 3 martial rider? Are they our Claryman family's guards?" The deputy captain of the security team asked curiously. "Where did you get your phone from?" Vikings asked quickly. "On top of one of the corpses." The deputy captain of the security team replied. "Corpses? Did those two outsiders snatch the martial rider's phone?" Vikings asked curiously. "I don't know." The deputy captain of the security team was also confused. "By the way, are those two corpses a man and a woman?" Suddenly, Vikings thought of a terrible possibility. Although he could not believe it, he still asked. "No, judging from their physical characteristics, they should be male corpses." "What's wrong? Is there a problem?" the deputy captain of the security team asked. Chapter 591. Vikings suppressed his anger and said, "If you want to look for the Claryman family, you can look for me. I can talk to you. Don't be impulsive." Vikings quickly waved his hand and said, "We are here to find out the other party's background and intentions. Since the other party has the ability to kill two of us, it means that they are not weak." "I don't understand. Speak in Great Xia or English," Xiao Chen said. "All right, in that case, let Vikings bring 2 Claryman warriors." Old Claryman made the final decision. Vikings was a little annoyed, but when he thought of the other party's strength, he held it in and said, "I am Vikings, the third in-line heir of the Claryman family." Chapter 592. Could they be twins? He waved in the direction of Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen walked over with Song Huawu and sat in front of Vikings. He picked up the menu on the table and waved to the waiter on the side. "Waiter, order." Vikings was a little depressed. "I, the host, am here. You want to order without even greeting me? How rude." However, he could not fall out with Xiao Chen because of such a small matter. He could only say the same. "Mr. Xiao Chang, take a look at what you want to eat. You can order anything you want, bullshit," Xiao Chen said in a bad mood. Then, he took the menu and ordered everything that was expensive to the waiter. He ordered a whole bunch of dishes. Vikings was a little speechless, but he did not say anything. This hotel belonged to the Claryman family. This food was nothing. When Xiao Chen finished ordering, he said, "Let me introduce myself. There's no need for introductions." "Vikings? Tell me what you want." Xiao Chen waved his hand and interrupted him. Being interrupted by Xiao Chen again, Vikings was a little depressed. However, he still said, "Okay, the 2 military jockeys of our family were killed by you, right? Are you here to get revenge for them?" Xiao Chen asked. "Of course not. I'm here to negotiate this time. However, don't think that we're afraid of you. As he spoke, Vikings waved his hand. The two military jockeys beside him revealed their strength as a level 3 and level 4 martial master. Oh, a level 3 and a level 4 martial master. Are you here to scare me? Xiao Chen said as he drank his juice. This. Seeing that Xiao Chen was not afraid at all and was even drinking his juice leisurely, Vikings was a little timid. Could it be that Xiao Chen was very powerful? Was he confident that he could kill these two military jockeys? Otherwise, why would he have such an expression? In fact, Xiao Chen did not have any confidence, but he could not show his fear. As long as he showed fear, the other party would definitely attack him. He had only been able to kill those two martial cavalry masters because of luck. It was no problem for Xiao Chen to kill the first layer martial rider, but the third layer martial rider, if it wasn't for his pistol exploding and blowing off one of his hands, Xiao Chen wouldn't have been able to kill him so easily. Not to mention, there was now a third layer and a fourth layer martial rider. Xiao Chen was no match for them at all, but he purposely acted very mysterious, so Vikings definitely wouldn't dare to act rashly. After all, he didn't know how the two martial riders died at that time. Hurry up and say what you want to say, Xiao Chen said. Just as Vikings was about to speak, the food that Xiao Chen ordered was served. Then, Xiao Chen waved his hand and said, "Okay, no need to say anything. Wait until I finish eating." This. Vikings was about to explode. Xiao Chen ignored him and ate the food in big mouthfuls. He kept commenting on the food and gave it to Song Huawu to taste. Seeing the two of them showing off their affection, Vikings suppressed his anger and didn't explode. He was the third in line to be the heir not because he was stupid. Looking at Xiao Chen and Song Huawu's current appearance, they weren't injured at all. In other words, they easily and happily killed the two military jockeys. This meant that Xiao Chen could also kill the two current military jockeys and himself. Vikings didn't dare to take the risk. Whether he and the two jockeys died or he survived, it would be fatal for him. If these two people died, even if he survived, it would be over. Or rather, the Vikings' family would be finished. Without the military jockeys, how could they have their current glory? He would also be disqualified as the heir. So, after weighing the pros and cons, he waited for Xiao Chen to finish eating. Although the two jockeys beside him were angry, they also knew that Xiao Chen was not a good person after seeing that Xiao Chen killed the two previous jockeys without suffering any injuries. Finally, Xiao Chen and Song Huawu finished eating. Xiao Chen wiped his mouth and burped. He squinted at Vikings and said, "You can speak now." "Speak." "Sir, what brings you to Lego Town?" Vikings said. "If I'm not mistaken, you are all from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, right?" "The first thing is to get back the encrypted chip," Xiao Chen said. "I'm afraid I can't comply with that. Every profession has its rules. The chip is now in our hands. Although I snatched it back, I have already handed it over to the family. I have no right to take it back to you," Vikings said. "What can you do?" Xiao Chen asked. "I just want to say that we should mind our own business. The two of you can't do anything to my family, and it's impossible to snatch it. I think it's better to go back as soon as possible. I snatched the chip and injured your girlfriend, Song Huawu, but you also killed two of the Claryman family's military jockeys. Isn't that even?" Vikings said. "Even? You're really naive." Xiao Chen curled his lips. "I've read a book called Pure and Ambiguous. I think you're very silly and naive. So, you don't want to agree?" Vikings' expression changed. "The second thing is to avenge Song Huawu," Xiao Chen said without answering the question. Vikings was stunned. He saw a fireball coming at him, and his whole body burned in an instant. Before he could say anything, he turned into a pile of ashes. His strength was just that of a warrior, a military knight. Under Xiao Chen's samadhi true fire, he had no ability to resist at all and was burned to death instantly. The two military jockeys were a little dumbfounded. What kind of martial arts technique was this? How did Vikings get burned to death without saying a word? Just in the blink of an eye? Did he turn into ashes? The two of them immediately felt a chill run down their spines. They believed that Xiao Chen was able to kill the two martial cavalry masters from before. With this kind of strength, killing two martial cavalry masters would be a piece of cake. They didn't dare to act rashly in the face of unknown things. This kind of martial arts technique was beyond their understanding. The two of them were at a loss. Do you know why I kept you alive? Xiao Chen asked. That move just now had happened in the blink of an eye. Furthermore, they were sitting in a corner, so there were no customers paying attention to the sudden disappearance of a person. Of course, even if they noticed, they would think that they had seen wrongly or had seen wrongly. This. I don't know. The two military jockeys were a little shocked and looked at each other. From their point of view, Xiao Chen dared to kill people on the spot with such a strange and terrifying method. He was certainly not afraid of them, and he even spoke to them so casually. This meant that Xiao Chen's strength should be enough to defeat the two of them. Therefore, the two of them wouldn't be stupid enough to make a move. If they died, they would have died in vain. Go back and send a message to your patriarch. Ask him to come see me quickly. Otherwise, I will destroy your Claryman family. I mean it, Xiao Chen said lightly. Don't doubt me. You can try. Okay, we will bring your message back. The two military jockeys nodded and responded. All right, I won't keep you. When you leave, settle the bill. Xiao Chen waved his hand. Okay. The two military jockeys responded again and got up to leave. They didn't want to stay a minute longer. This person was too scary. After the two people left, Song Huawu was still stunned and at a loss. That Vikings was killed by you? Yes, he dared to blow you up. I was already very kind to him by not torturing him before killing him. Xiao Chen said. There are too many people here, so I couldn't torture him. Otherwise, he would have died even more miserably. Gosh. Song Huawu's heart was filled with sweetness. Xiao Chen was avenging her. Did Xiao Chen care a lot about her? Yes, it must be. He just knew that he couldn't stay in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for long, and he was afraid of implicating her, so he didn't respond. Continue eating. You don't say. The food in this hotel is really delicious, Xiao Chen said. You're still in the mood to eat? Those two military jockeys were scared off by you. If they go home and bring more masters, what will you do? Song Huawu was a little worried. Let's not talk about anything else. Even if a large group of martial artists besieged you, it would be hard enough. Oh, no. Xiao Chen smiled. The Claryman family didn't have the guts to be that crazy. Which family didn't use all their strength when facing a mortal enemy? He was just an outsider now, and he hadn't even attacked the Claryman family yet. Why would they send all their masters? In fact, the Claryman family really couldn't. The two military jockeys hurried back to the Claryman family and reported the news of Viking's death, as well as the words that Xiao Chen had asked them to bring. Old Claryman, the Great Elder, and the others were dumbfounded on the spot. Although Old Claryman always suppressed Vikings, he didn't want him to die. This person was still very smart. When he grew up, even if he didn't become the patriarch, he would become an elder and be a helper to Qiao Kelly. But he was dead just like that. The Great Elder immediately burst into tears. He hadn't expected that Vikings would be killed just because he went to negotiate. Moreover, he heard that it was a very strange martial arts technique. It was just a fireball, and he turned into ashes in an instant. Qiao Kelly, the second elder, and the third elder also had very complicated feelings. For a moment, they didn't know how to deal with it. Call for a family meeting. We must discuss a countermeasure. Old Claryman broke the silence and said with a sorrowful expression, the other party is very powerful. We must adjust our previous strategy and take it seriously. Everyone nodded and entered the family meeting room. After sitting down, the great elder said with a livid expression. Patriarch, the other party is too despicable. I think the Claremont family must fight back. Great elder, everyone wants to fight back, but how do we fight back? Are you going to fight back? Old Claremont was still clear-headed at this moment. 2 military jockeys were killed by him. 2 military jockeys were scared back by him. Vikings was also killed by him. Tell me, who can kill him? You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.